Hey, 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 hey. What's up, everybody? Hey, yo. What's up? It is Renee. It is I. I am back in the house, coming to you live from Queens, New York. What is going on, everybody? Hold on. Give me a second here. Okay. Happy weekend, all. Happy weekend, everybody. Everybody, happy weekend. Happy Saturday. It's interesting because I haven't, of course, Mr. Professional here with his ringtone still audible. Give me 1 minute. There we go. It's been a minute since I've been streaming. I know the last time I streamed live was Monday. And before I forget, let me hang out for a little bit before I hit the live button on Shorts. Before we get some random comments in here. But yeah, it's been a while. I haven't streamed since Monday. I hope all of you had a wonderful week and now are gearing up for an awesome weekend. Just been pretty busy throughout the week doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes. The YouTube channel, also my channel, actually had some stuff that I had to update over behind the scenes over the weekend. I mean, not over the weekend, during the week. And it took a couple days. So not that I couldn't stream or I couldn't push anything like a video live or anything like that. But I wanted to make sure that I got all that stuff settled before I did anything else on the channel. And everything seems to be solved. Everything seems to be okay. But obviously, if you notice anything odd or peculiar pop up or anything that sounds weird or looks weird on the channel and on any of the videos, definitely let me know. Keep me posted because I just want to make sure everything is running correctly there. It is June. Can you believe it? Hold up. All right. Now, for all of you who may be interested, I am now officially live on Shorts. So, what's up, world of Shorts? As always, anytime I go live here, you have two options to view me. You could view me on the traditional horizontal regular TV mode, or if you prefer cell phones, or I know a lot of you view my videos and my streams on cell phones. If you prefer the vertical format, TikTok style format, then definitely you could find it there on the channel as well. You have two options, and I give you any kind of option you may be interested in. So that all being said, it's amazing how it's already June 2024. This year has been flying by. I don't know if all of you feel that way, but I definitely feel like the year has been going by so quickly. And it's been an interesting year so far when it comes to the movie landscape. Maybe not for a lot of you, but for me personally, I feel like there's been some very decent movies and some great movies that have come out this year so far. But if you look at the current box office, you wouldn't think that's the case, right? You wouldn't think that a lot of people think that there are not that many good movies out there right now, but there are. So what I've always liked doing this, but I haven't done it enough on the channel or on live streams, is that I've never looked at the month of a calendar year and ranked the movies that came out that month, Sometimes Blake and I, and if you don't know who that is, as the guy that I usually do the Movie Time podcast with, we usually sit down and we kind of talk about, okay, these are all the movies that came out this month. How would you rank them? What are your, which did you like the most? Which movie do you wish you never went to see? We could have saved some time of your life and get some of that time back. So this is something I'm going to actually do on the stream today. So hopefully that will be entertaining and interesting for all of you. I'm going to have two lists. So basically, I'm going to have like the movies that I saw brand new in the theaters and some of the movies that I watched at home that may be like older movies, things I've rewatched, and how I would rank all that stuff. So we're going to do that. Plus, of course, a whole bunch of trailers came out this week. So I want to kind of talk about some of the new trailers that dropped and kind of give my little review on a lot of these trailers that came out. So hopefully that would be fun and entertaining for you all out there. But as always, I'm always happy and excited to chat and talk to all of you guys out there. So anytime you want to chime in, obviously, let me know any questions or any topics you would be interested in talking about in the comments, as long as it's movie related, pop culture related, things like that. So definitely let me know anything that's on your mind, and keep it simple and keep it safe. All right, let's not go off the rails here. All right, let me just pull some things up on my screen here. What's going on, Star-Lord? Star-Lord currently saying what's up from work, or is currently working. Nice to see you. It's been a minute, I know, since I've been here, but great for you to stop by, and no problem if you'll be popping in and out. Always appreciate your show of support when it comes to the streams and all. Hope you had a wonderful week. I know sometimes you say work gets busy for you, so hopefully it's not that crazy. And I hope you're doing okay over there. All right. First thing I figured the first thing to talk about is a lot of these trailers that came out. So there's like 4 different trailers that came out this past week, maybe 5, right? When you're looking at everything there. The first trailer that I noticed that came out this week was this new trailer for Wicked. Now, it's not anything new. It is basically, and this is something that Universal has done with a lot of their trailers in the past, is that they kind of Legoized the trailer for Wicked. The last full trailer of Wicked that we got, they kind of released like a Lego version of it, right? I'm not going to be reacting to it live because I've already seen it, so it's not going to be like a genuine reaction. But I'll show you some of it right now. And again, the way that copyrights work here on YouTube, it's kind of annoying, but they did a full-blown Lego treatment of their latest Wicked trailer. Word for word, beat by beat, all that stuff. And for the most part, it looked fantastic. It looked a lot of fun and great. If the entire movie was this, then I would be more excited to check it out than I am for the regular movie. I think Wicked is one of the most anticipated movies of the year for a lot of people, especially for the holiday season at the end of the year. But after the last trailer that we got, I'm not exactly so sure how I feel about it. And my excitement has kind of dipped a little bit for this movie. I'm still going to see it, obviously, but I'm not sure if this is going to be any good. I still think Ariana Grande looks kind of weird. It's very CG heavy, very, very CG heavy. So I don't know if it's going to maintain that same sort of charm that the musical had. If you had a chance, if you were able enough to actually watch the musical live, it's amazing the type of production that they put together on stage for this story. And I don't know, I feel like it's going to lose some of that because of all the CG work. And again, what's the thing that they're not really mentioning a lot in these trailers is that this is intended to be a part 1. We're supposed to get a part 2. So I don't know how that's going to play out when people watch this movie, if people are even going to be interested in a part 2 after this. But yeah, it's interesting. It's cute. It's fun. I do like it every time they do something like this, and like I said, it's extremely fascinating the amount of work I'm sure that goes into all of this. So yeah, so that's my thought on the Wicked Lego trailer, which is it's kind of cute. Starlord saying, week hasn't been that bad, work hasn't been that bad, just have a few exports and downloads and unmixing. Okay. Still, that's a lot of work as someone who edits myself and does all that stuff myself from time to time. So hopefully I can be here to keep you some company while you are going through all of that. So that's the Wicked trailer. The next trailer that came out is this new trailer called Wolves. It's a movie with Brad Pitt and George Clooney. And the whole idea behind it all is, and again, I'll show some of it here. I'm not going to react to it because I already saw it, like I said. The main concept behind this movie, it appears that you have two cleanup guys. When I say cleanup guys, these are guys that you call whenever there's a problem and you want them to fix it, right? They're the fixers. You may be familiar with Pulp Fiction. Harvey Keitel played the character of the Wolf. He's the guy that fixes things. He fixes, right? And basically you have competing fixers going against each other in this movie. Brad Pitt and George Clooney being the fixers. They were, I guess, called to the same job, and now they have to work together to clean this mess that was created or that occurred. And obviously there's a lot of hijinks that ensues from this. The person that they thought was dead is not dead. This is all stuff that they revealed in the trailer. It kind of explodes into more of things that they have to clean up and fix, where now drugs is involved. And, they have similar styles, but yet are very different. Obviously, Brad Pitt plays the younger of the fixer. George Clooney has more of an older style. And it's like a butting of head situations and all that. So, again, nothing so different from what we've seen in the past. But it does look interesting. The one thing that really threw me off in this movie, in this trailer, is that there's this one particular scene that looks so badly done visual effects wise, and it looks so cheesy and corny, and I'm gonna wait to see when that moment comes up. We're approaching it actually pretty soon. It involves a car and a guy, and you can so tell that everything was done via green screen. They didn't even bother to like really mask it. And this is the moment that's coming up here, where the guy is about to get hit by this car and he does a flip. And it looks so like this moment right there. It looks so terrible, and it doesn't even look finished. You could kind of see like the green hue from the green screen, like around the guy. And I'm just like, what's happening here? Like, why is it so messy? Why is it so unfinished and unpolished? Like, you could see literally here the outline of the green screen behind him. And I was just like taken back by this. I was like, what is happening here? It just looks so off-putting to me. And it just makes that entire moment look so fake. So when you're trying to evoke an emotion, that's supposed to be like, oh my God, what's happening here? But at the same time, provide like a comedic element to it, because, it's kind of funny how he was able to survive the whole car incident, and now he's running away, and Brad Pitt's supposed to be like, oh my God, what just happened? Oh my God, I can't believe he's getting away. I'm just like, so that, I don't know about this. It's another Apple film, but it's also being put out there by Sony Pictures. Sony's doing a lot of weird things with their movies, and I don't know exactly what's happening with that studio on that side. Look, Sony's having a weird couple of years, with their movie division and of course with their gaming division. There's a lot of weirdness going on with Sony right now. So I don't know what's happening with this movie, but yeah, I thought that was an interesting thing to check out this week. Starlord saying, I didn't even like Mila Kunis as Wicked Witch. No one is anywhere close to Margaret Hamilton. What is up with always trying to make the bad guy sympathetic? Oh, that's a new trend, right? That started a while ago. Because I think it all kind of came about as to, what is it like from the bad guy's point of view, right? And there are some people who have done it right. Like I always say that Cobra Kai is a perfect example of how to do that correctly. When you have, um, you know, for the longest time, we've always hated Johnny Lawrence, right? We've always seen Johnny Lawrence as the bad guy versus Daniel LaRusso in the Karate Kid movies. But then when you kind of spin it and say, okay, let's look at things from Johnny Lawrence's side of view or point of view, and kind of see like, well, this is basically how it affected his life. This is now what he's struggling to do. And kind of like give us his own perspective. It's interesting to think of that in his, in his mind and how things have affected him. And how, yeah, it's very easily you could kind of see that Daniel may be the asshole sometimes. So it's an interesting concept. It works and it doesn't. Then you have Maleficent, who really also spearheaded that whole moment. What's going on, Lil Sa? Yeah, it's been a week. The last time I was live was Monday. So that's why I'm gonna make up for it. I'm gonna be live today, tomorrow, and Monday. So it's just been like a very busy week for me. This is not, even though I work a lot on this channel and I would love to make it my full-time gig, it is not a full-time gig that can help support a lot of things. So that's one of the reasons why I wasn't here this past week a lot. Just a lot of things I had to work on outside of YouTube this past week. So yeah, so hopefully you can be around to kind of catch things up for the weekend and all that. Yeah. And I appreciate you chiming in and checking out the streams whenever I am on. So I really, really appreciate all that. But yeah, I think Maleficent really started the whole success of how that can work in movies, in a movie standpoint. That was kind of successful, and like I said, like in certain movies it works. Like I always say, like I think an underrated movie is Cruella, the Emma Stone Cruella. I thought that was very nicely done. It was definitely something that we can all say we never needed, we never really asked for, but since we got it, it is very interesting to see, and I thought it was nicely done. But of course, there are so many different instances where it wasn't done so well, and we tend to forget those and not talk about those at all. Star-Lord, they need HSL or graphs for the green screen and desaturate the green. Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like the trailer was rushed. I kind of feel like it was like a rushed trailer because a lot of the effects just doesn't look finished, and it looked very poor. I don't know. For like I said, for a company like Sony and Apple to put out something like that, it just looked bad, and it looks bad on them, to be honest. So yeah, Johnny Lawrence was never the bad guy. Well, you could say that now, but I think growing up and watching it, we all saw him as the bad guy, right? He was the guy that was always bullying Daniel, right? Even though with good cause, because Daniel was kind of slowly kind of hitting on his girl, right? But she wasn't, she should be at fault as well. But Johnny was always like the big bully at school. And yeah, even though he had kind of like that hesitation moment during the tournament, sweeping the leg and all, and he was kind of like, what? He still did it, right? So he can be considered to be like the bad guy. Everyone there on the Cobra Kai side of things, it was considered to be the bad guy. So it could also be just bad guy with association too, and but he was a kid. That's something we always say. Look, I've been bullied as a kid, and you could say like, oh, those kids were kids too, but come on, there's a certain level of things where the kids sometimes would know better. No such thing as only bad teacher. No, of course. But I guess again, when you think of the original Karate Kid movie that came out, it was a very typical underdog story, right? And especially at a movie at that time, there was no gray line. We never understood that concept of no bad student, just a bad teacher, right? I feel like that's a concept that only came into more clear definition later on in the later years. Um, and we are able to look at things a little bit different, right? But like in the 70s, 80s, like it was very black and white, I feel like for the most part. Um, it's also an evolution of how we think of things. And I think that's also another reason why we try to look at things from the other point of view, from the other perspective. And that's why, stories where the villain is now sympathetic, or it's forcing the audience to want to be sympathetic, that's something that's new because, again, growing up, you never really saw gray lines. It was always black and white. Yeah. But then again, that's just my opinion. So, what do I know? I'm just some random nut job here on the internet, right?
Wow.
There you go. That's for you, Star-Lord. Wicked Witch never had her wings cut off. I feel like this story is actually very similar to Karate Kid when you think about it. It's kind of like no, dude, I love the conversation always. You know that. It's good back and forth. Where the story of Wicked is that you have, the Green Witch, Griselda, is it? Or I don't know. I forget the names. You have the Barbie Witch, and then you have the Green Witch. That's how I'm gonna define them as. And you had the Barbie Witch, which is she was always very high on herself. She thought her shit don't stink. And she thought she was going to be the main star of the school. Then you have this other one that shows up that outshines her, and she gets jealous, right? So, of course, what like any mean girl situation, tries to kind of like do bad stuff to her or put her in a bad light. They gave her the hat that's not supposed to be good, right? But things, kind of, turn around, and the Green Witch gets sent off to Oz and invites, Barbie, and they become friends. And then all of a sudden, Green Witch realizes who she is and the person she can be, and tries to stand out on her own. And it becomes this big thing. It's like, ow, craziness. So it's just a very, very interesting story. And I've never read the book. And I feel like I should, because it sounds like a story that I would very much be into. And I always keep hearing that there's more stuff in the book versus what was done on the musical. So yeah. I think regardless, it's a concept that's still very interesting, if done correctly. Sympathizing on the bad guy. Like, honestly, I would love if Marvel or any of these, I have a feeling James Gunn might do this with DC. Well, they're kind of doing it with the Joker, but it's not so much sympathizing for the Joker. It's just giving us a look into that type of persona, with the Joaquin Phoenix Joker. But it would be great if we could highlight one of these bad guys before we push them into like a major movie story arc where they are the big baddie, the big villain. I know they've done that with the Kingpin a little bit. They try to, and I think that's one of the brilliant things about the Netflix show is that they really try to give you all sides of the situation. And they really explored a lot of the background and what made Kingpin the way he is. And in a way, you do kind of sympathize with him, right? You don't have to agree with how he carries out the rest of the stuff, but you do kind of feel bad for how messed up he is, right? Um, the whole thing also with Vanessa and all that, like that's just really rough storytelling. Rough, not in like done badly, but it's just the development arc of the character is rough because that person has been through a lot. You know, so I like it when they do stuff like that. You know, when they throw in villains nowadays, you know, they give us such a small window with them that sometimes you just don't give a fuck, right? You know, they'll throw in like what's a great example of that? Like, all right, Kang, right? Kang was supposed to be like this big baddie in the Marvel universe for this current phase. But the only time we ever got to see him was on the Loki show. And the Loki show, it wasn't even the main Kang that we're going to get later on. So how could we care about this one character when we keep getting introduced to multiple versions of said character and they're all very different? You know, it's like, who cares? You know, at least when Thanos showed up, Thanos was like, all right, this dude looks interesting. And we could see how he might be like the puppet master behind the scenes for a lot of things. The more and more we learned about this guy, the more and more we're like, wow, this is a very interesting dude. And then once we really learned about his motivations and why he's doing certain things, in a way you could kind of get it. And you're like, you know, he's not wrong with how he kind of thinks about things. Execution-wise is where it becomes questionable. Right. And I feel like we don't get that enough. So Star-Lord, no one wants to hate the bad guy because, God forbid, hate is wrong. Well, that is true. Okay. Well, Suele, you, first of all, your name is very long. So I'm going to call you Costly White. You say you remember me from the block. Uh-huh. Wow. That's a lot of interesting stuff to say there. I think you may have gotten me mistaken for somebody else, but thanks for your comment. Okay, Thanos balanced everything, but why? I mean, think about it. You may not think that way, but there are a lot of people out there who feel that things would be better if things were equal all across the board. You know, everyone gets treated the same way. Everyone gets paid the same. Everyone gets the same amount of resources to survive. There are a lot of people out there who kind of think on those wavelengths, right? They want it to be kind of easy and happy for everybody. And that's how some people feel society should be like. I don't necessarily feel that way. I feel like maybe there needs to be a certain order or a certain hierarchy for certain situations. But, you know, I don't think balance for everything or equal levels of everything is the right answer or the solution. You know, it's all about how people view life and all that. So, you know, but the thing is, like, when you hear Thanos explain it, and when, you know, he's kind of coming at it from his own point of view, you kind of stop and think about it. It's like, you know, he's not exactly wrong with a lot of things that he says. But again, execution-wise, that's where it gets kind of weird. What's going on, Jason Caesar? I don't know what you said, but thank you for your comment. Appreciate you. Let the universe unfold as it should. Well, that should always be the case, right? By the way, if you're watching here live on Shorts, what's going on, everybody? Really appreciate you watching. Don't forget, hit that like button. Would really appreciate it if you did that. If you want to make a guy's day and you want to make me happy and you want to spread good karma, please, I would love it. Love it if you could hit that like button. All right. The big trailer of the week that dropped currently sitting at 8.8 million views, is Walt Disney's Moana 2. All right. Moana 2 is a sequel I don't think a lot of people were expecting it to happen. But like with anything Disney, it should happen because money, 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 money. Um, but Moana arguably is like one of the better animated films from Disney proper that came out in recent years. It's fun, it's entertaining, great songs, great cast, interesting characters. So the Moana teaser dropped, and I'll be honest, I don't know what's happening. Moana is there. It looks like she's trying to save now. The focus of the first Moana was her island of Hawaii and her family, right? Make sure that everything was taken care of. Make sure that, the order was all there and everything was all fine and dandy, right? Now it looks like Moana is trying to extend that to the rest of the ocean and the people and communities that live outside of Hawaii. So we're expanding her reach from here. And, it has a very similar tone to the first one. Same type of music flow, same type of look and feel to everything. Of course, at the end of the trailer, we get Maui and Dwayne Johnson, The Rock is back. And, we had some comedic bits and all that. It's like, bacon and eggs because you have a chicken and a pig on board and ha ha ha, funny. But I don't know. Was this trailer supposed to get me excited? I don't know. Looks okay. I would love to know more about it, but nah. I don't know. But I'm sure there are a lot of kids out there just like, oh my God, give this to me now. That sounded kind of weird, but you know what I'm saying. What's going on, Arnold? Nice to see you again. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for chiming in. Thank you for checking out the stream. Starlord, the universe is like Wolverine's mouth in the background. One big glory.
Wow.
Well, there you have it. What's going on, Amanda C? How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Thank you for checking out this stream. That is an amazing popcorn bucket, by the way. I mean, when that was revealed this week, we knew they were kind of working on something like that. They had to. I mean, this is Deadpool we're talking about. There had to be some sort of counter to the whole Dune popcorn situation. And that, now, they announced the popcorn bucket. They didn't exactly tell you how to get it or which movie theater chain it was going to be associated with. Because Regal dropped a whole separate tease of a Deadpool popcorn bucket that was going to drop. It wasn't very clear as to what it was going to be, but it's so weird. So I'm sure this is really going to happen, but I would love to know how and where you can get it eventually. So let's see. Arnold, yeah, I'm really good. Looking forward to the game V Rising. What's coming out soon? Great game. Which game is that, Arnold? Let me look it up. V Rising, it's called? Oh, action role-playing survival game. Oh, that does sound interesting. Who's doing it? Stunlock Studios. Never heard of it. I've never heard of this game. When does it come out? It looks like what? It looks like this game has been in the works for several years now. Is that right? There was an early access back in May of 2022. Is that right? It sounds very much like what they did with Baldur's Gate. I remember Baldur's Gate. Whatchamacallit? The Larian was is it Larian Studios? I remember they had that game in kind of like a pre-release, early access beta phase for 2 years. I want to say 2 or 3 years. A cousin of mine was playing it for a very long time before it actually was released on PS5 and Windows. So it sounds like a certain situation there with this studio. I'm sure they're doing it all by themselves, right? They have a publisher called Level Infinite, but I don't know. You know, it's already outside, but it's not only. I see. Okay. Yeah, it looks interesting. It looks very interesting. So, yeah. Are you? I'm assuming you're not playing it yet, right? Are you waiting it? Are you waiting for it to come out on PS5? Sorry, what's going on? Why are you wowing? Why are you wowing over there? By the way, guys, just again, another quick reminder. If you could, would love it if you hit that like button on the shorts live and on the regular live. It will really mean a lot to me. You'll make this little crazy floating head on the internet extremely happy. Give me 1 second, y'all. Just checking out some notifications. Arnold, yes, I'm waiting for the PS5 to come out. I've only played it, good friend, on PC so far. Cool. I mean, it's these days, I'll be very honest, it's hard for me to jump onto very new games that come out just because, one, they're really expensive, and two, time. My time is just so sucked up with so many different things. But I would love to hear your thoughts when you have a chance to play it, and let me know if it's worth checking out, because it looks interesting for just based off what I saw so far. Starlord, seriously though, is this a hint that if Wolverine wears the mask, he will have white eyes? Probably. I wouldn't put it past them to do it that way, because Deadpool has the same situation. I wouldn't put it past them to do it like that, and that would be kind of interesting if they do that. Yeah. But yeah, Moana 2. I mean, who out there is excited for Moana 2? That's what I'm really curious to know about. Let me know in the comments if you're excited for Moana 2. But from the trailer that we got, it just looks a repeat of what we got in the first one, in a more grander scale of things. That's what I'll say. The other trailer that came out this past week is a trailer for a movie called A Family Affair. This is a Netflix joint. It's a rom-com. It stars Zac Efron and who is this? Nicole Kidman. Nicole Kidman, I don't know, man. I remember how I thought she was extremely cute back in the day, but she's gotten so much work done on her face that it's kind of hard to find her attractive and all. But it's an interesting story that basically involves, I guess, a teacher of a daughter hooking up with her mom. And that's where the hijinks ensue and all that. And it looks like a very typical rom-com. I'll be honest, it looks very much like a Hallmark film. It looks like a straight up Hallmark film. What's going on, Isaac? Isaac is watching Ben 10, y'all. I have never watched Ben 10 in my life. Not because I thought it's bad or anything like that. It's just when Ben 10 came out, I was already kind of past or grown up from watching cartoons on a regular basis. I was very selective in the cartoons that I watched, and Ben 10 was just not one of them. But I know a lot of people love Ben 10, and I have friends who are big fans of Ben 10. So that's awesome. I'm assuming that you're a big Ben 10 fan because it looks like your profile icon is Ben 10. Spider-Man was the first with white eyes, wasn't he? In the movies, yes, he was. I would say so. Yeah. In comic books, I don't know if that's true. Arnold used to always watch American Dragon. Which one is that? Let's see. American Dragon. Oh my God. I remember this. Now, this is interesting because this was a Disney Channel show, right? And when this came out, this was 2005, 2007. So yeah, so I was already much older, and I was already at a time in my life when I wasn't watching a lot of these cartoons, these animated shows. But I've heard people talk about this, and then when I saw clips of it, I said, "Oh, I kind of like the animation style." I also love the whole representation for Asians. I thought it was actually pretty neat, but I never had a chance to watch this show. But it looks pretty awesome. Looks pretty damn awesome. Started, yeah, Civil War. Yeah, when Spider-Man showed up, right, for the first time in the MCU. That was pretty cool. Very, very interesting stuff. American Dragon. I'm also looking at some of the voice cast here. Is that, hold on, Dante Basco? Wasn't that the guy who played Rufio in Hook? Hold on. Yeah, he was the guy that played Rufio in Hook. That's awesome. That's amazing. He was the voice of the main character there, Jake Long. That's funny. That's so funny. Storm had white eyes in X-Men. She did. Very briefly. Only when she used her powers. She had the white eyes that formulated. So you're right. Arnold, what I find sad is that there are just too many streaming sites and you feel like you have subscribed to everything. Arnold, I'm right there with you. I am right there with you. It's too much to keep up with these days. You have to pick and choose what you feel like you're going to be utilizing the most. I would love it. In a perfect world, I would love to be able to say I'm subscribed to Disney Plus, Max, Hulu, Netflix, Paramount, Peacock, Shudder, Criterion Channel, Prime on Amazon. I would love to say that. In reality, that's no way that's going to happen unless I'm making an amazing salary every year, which I'm not. Right? So I have to be very choosy. And sometimes I'll subscribe to a platform for a month if there's a certain show that I want to watch, right? But you have to pick and choose. Like right now, my main subscriptions are Disney Plus because I do watch that the most, I feel, out of everything. Max is second for me. And then there's Netflix. Netflix I share with somebody, so we kind of split the cost there, so that does help a bit. Prime is there because I already paid for the year. But if I had to consider it just for their video options alone on a monthly basis, I would not subscribe to them because I just don't watch it enough. Peacock is the only other one that I'm currently getting for free because it's tied to a cable subscription that my mom has. But I don't think it goes beyond a year after the first year. So I don't know what I'm going to do after that, but that's it. Peacock, I love Peacock because, and I don't know how this happened, but I slowly got back into wrestling because me and a very good friend of mine, we talk about it a lot. So the fact that you could get all the WWE content, like the live pay-per-views, and you don't have to pay an exorbitant amount of money for it, it's already included on the platform. Boom, that's a win for me. The Olympics is coming up. I love watching the Olympics, so I'll be able to watch all that stuff there. And Saturday Night Live. I'm a big fan of Saturday Night Live, so I get to watch it there too. Arnold only has Netflix because of The Big Bang Theory. Well, that's how a lot of people thought about The Office too. I remember when The Office was still on Netflix, a lot of people were subscribed to Netflix mainly because of The Office. Now that it's on Peacock, I feel like people now subscribe to Peacock mainly because of The Office. Right? So it's interesting how that is. Star-Lord, if Undertaker was a superhero, he would be the first with white eyes. Oh, for sure, hands down. That is accurate. Him and Kane. They'll be the two with the white eyes. Kane. Oh my. I don't know. I was out and about in our city in 2017 and then came up with Roman ratings. That's awesome. What city are you from, Arnold? I don't remember if you ever said so in the past. But it's amazing randomly bumping into Roman like that. How was he in person? I hear he's a very nice dude in person. I actually, interesting story. So back in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, that was the last time I was really big into wrestling. And I remember I used to go to like the Monday Night Raw and SmackDown tapings whenever they came to New York. And one of the funniest moments was I was at a taping, I think for SmackDown. And I was sitting it was like one of the luckiest moments I had where I was sitting 5th row from the side of one of the rings, right? And unbeknownst to me, randomly, Mick Foley just walked out. And kind of, I brushed upon him because I didn't know he was there next to me. And then I turned over and he was like right there, like walking towards the ring. He was about to do a thing. And I was like, oh my God, it's Mick Foley. And like, I smacked him on the arm. I was just like, what's up, Mick? And he just kept walking. And I was like, yo, because back then Mick Foley was like my favorite wrestler of all time. So I was like, oh man. And then after that, I went finally to a live wrestling match for the first time for ages in January of this year. My friend treated me to a live event. I was like, oh, wow. People are still into it like they were back in the day. So it was amazing to see. Arnold was born in Romania, but lived in Germany. Oh, okay. Near Munich. Awesome. He was very personable and really took his time. Oh, that's cool. See, that's great to hear. It's great to hear when people like that are that cool like that. Germany. I kind of miss Germany. I've been to Germany. I went to Germany once. Oh God, what year was this? I can't remember. It was a while ago. But I was there for like 2 weeks. I was touring around Germany. I went to all over the place. I missed being in Munich. I wasn't able to go to Munich, but I went to a lot of other cities around there. Dusseldorf, Frankfurt. I spent New Year's Eve in Frankfurt. And it's freaking wild there, man. You know, because I'm so used to going to New Year's Eve events that are kind of professionally prepared. But in Frankfurt, everyone just does their own thing. You have fireworks blowing up all over the streets. You have, people hang out by the harbor just waiting for the countdown to happen. People are drunk off their minds. I saw one old guy catch on fire because a firework blew up right by him. And he didn't even react to it. He just looked at his shoulder that was on fire and just did one of those things and then just kept walking. I was just like, this place is great. It's freaking bananas. I love it. The only one where you have to be careful is Brock Lesnar. Yeah, you don't know what to expect with that guy. Find that entrance taping. I should, right? I should look back because I never had a chance to watch it on TV that moment. So I'm pretty sure there may have been a slight chance that you would have seen a younger me back in, like, I think this was like, I want to say 2000, 2001. So I should go back and look at that. I will say that I am on an episode of the Maury Povich show because I brought my team from one of my companies and teamed up with another team, another department, and we did a day outing and we went to a taping of Maury Povich. We basically owned like the whole row we were sitting at because we were rolling like 11 deep. And you will briefly see me there and you'll see a lot of my coworkers in that taping. I forgot which taping that was though, but I got to find all that information. I have someone, I know, I still keep in touch with someone that probably knows the right dates and all that. But yeah. Funny stuff. I also do show up in the background. If you ever watch who does the coverage for this? I think it's on the Star Wars YouTube channel. For the years where they had Star Wars Celebration in Chicago and in Anaheim, you will find me in the back of some of their live segments when they're interviewing people. I can be seen randomly in the back making weird faces. And I think every year, me and my friends who were there with me, we kind of do a review of those moments. I should probably like clip them out and just do like a compilation of all of my head popping appearances that just show up during Star Wars Celebration. It's become a tradition for me now. So now next year when I go to live to Star Wars Celebration in Tokyo, I'm going to try my best to get to that live stage where they do like the live interviews, and I'm going to try to do another like pop up of the head like in the back, like, you know, something crazy like that. Anyways, madness. There were two other movie trailers that popped up this week too. One other one. I already talked about A Family Affair. It looks like I said, Hallmark level type of rom-com. And then we finally got the official full trailer for Kinds of Kindness, which is the brand new movie with Yorgos Lanthimos, directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, teaming up once again with Emma Stone, or I think she wants to be called Emily Stone now, which is really her name. And you have Jesse Plemons in here. Willem Dafoe is back working with these guys. You have Hung Chow, who I love seeing in the movies every time she pops up. And this just looks all kind of batty. I don't know what's happening in this movie. This trailer does not tell me anything. It just looks like a bunch of random little things. And I think I heard it was like an anthology type of movie, but it just looks bizarre in all these different moments. But it's Yorgos Lanthimos, and I love Yorgos Lanthimos. Poor Things was my favorite movie of last year. I love seeing these same people team up with him again and showing up here. And coming out of Cannes Film Festival, however you want to pronounce it, Jesse Plemons was nominated and won Best Actor in all of the films that were shown at Cannes this year. So I can't wait to see his performance in this movie, and this looks like it's going to be a really wild romp. There's this one scene here where you just see a bunch of dogs riding around in a car. Like, what is that about? It just looks bonkers to me, but yeah, I can't wait to see this. That looks like that's going to be an interesting movie. So yeah, so that's like my quick review of all the trailers that came out this past week. So if there's any particular trailer that stood out to you from this past week, let me know in the comments. Would love to hear about all those things. All right. Give me 1 minute, y'all. Sorry. I know it's very professional of me to be looking at my phone during my live streams. To help with the situation, I'm going to be playing some looking on the phone music. Looking on the phone, checking out my notifications. All right. Let's talk about the movies of May. Arnold, wow, with the super chat. Thank you so much. That is so nice of you. Really, really, totally appreciate it. You are amazing. Very kind words. Very, very kind words. Thank you so much. I'm just here to hang out with you guys. And I love talking about what we talk about. I love telling stories. I love hearing your stories. So really, 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 I really appreciate it. You are a rock star. Thank you so much. Very, very kind of you. Did that even pop up on the screen? I wonder, because look, I'll be honest with you. I don't know if notifications pop up on the screen enough. But let me know if you actually saw that pop up. But thank you, Arnold. You're awesome, man. Really appreciate it. Starlord, your stories. I love your stories, man. Honestly, I do. Oh, there it is. It popped up. I guess there's a delay, and I didn't hear. Did you guys hear any kind of audio? That's so weird how this thing works sometimes. Let me know if you guys heard any audio just now about that. Because something was supposed to pop up. Starlord, my story should be written with AI. You might break AI. You might end up breaking AI. I can see it now. Chat GPT might go down for a brief moment. All right. So let's talk about, like I said, May was a very interesting month when it comes to movies. You had, let me see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kind of big movies, or students were hoping these would be big movies that came out in that month. And I'm not even counting the horror movies that we got. You know, so we had a decent amount of movies that came out this in the month of May. Arnold is asking how old I am. Trivia time, or here we go. Let's play a game. How old do you think I am? Let's play this game. How old do I look like to you? Starlord saying it's definitely not worthy to be narrated by Morgan Freeman. Your stories? We could have your stories narrated by Paul Giamatti. How about that? Arnold guessing that I am 27.
Wow.
That is very nice of you. Very kind. Very, very kind. There was a point in my life when I was 27. That point is not now. I am 46 years old. Believe it or not. I am an old fuck, as they call it. You blew it! Yep. I am 46. Sometimes I feel like I'm 46 going on 60, but I guess in your case, I'm 46 going on 28. So thank you so much for thinking that. It's nice to know that I still have a young appearance. But yeah, Star-Lord's stories will now forever, in my mind and his, will be narrated by Paul Giamatti. Everyone. Arnold Ofa. Yep. Surprise. But again, age is just a number. It's all relevant. Like time. Yeah. All right. Let's get back to our movie conversation. So here are a lot of the brand new movies that made dents in the box office in the month of May. The biggest movie, again, I don't know if I would say I'm not surprised by this, or what would you call it, but Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is the #1 earning movie at the box office domestically here in the States. I would say worldwide as well, with a worldwide total of 302 million. You know, you have domestic intake of 131. So, again, no surprise that Kingdom is at the top. But honestly, I thought it would be there along with Furiosa. And Furiosa is probably one of the biggest question marks as to what happened here. Because it is a very good movie. It really is. Not as great as Fury Road, but it is a very good movie. For it to be in 4th place in the month of May, as far as box office is concerned, is crazy to think about. Unfortunately, because of this and the bad showing of Furiosa, it doesn't look like we're ever going to be able to see another Mad Max movie anytime soon. Because basically, it shows that maybe audiences don't give a fuck about it. You know, Fall Guys in 2, into 2nd. This is another movie I thought was going to do much better. Arnold saying he's 23, still have some time. You definitely do. You have plenty of time, my man. Plenty of time. Star-Lord, I want Paul Giamatti from Planet of the Apes to tell my stories. You know, with AI, we could make that happen. I'm just saying. We could totally make that happen with AI. Yeah, Fall Guy, if the family-friendly movie there, directed by John Krasinski, starring Ryan Reynolds, is in 3rd place for the month. 69 million domestically, 109 worldwide. Garfield movies in 5th. Strangers Chapter 1's in 6th. Taro is in 7th. Back to Black, the Amy Winehouse biopic, is in 8th. But now at this point, we're getting to like very low numbers for the month of May. Back to Black, Sight, I Saw the TV Glow, Blue Angels, Babes, so on and so forth. So I think box office wise, it's been a very poor month. Very, very poor month. Very underperforming and underwhelming month overall. Which is not a good sign, because usually May is the official kickoff month to the summer blockbuster season. And as we've seen, there were 3 main movies, arguably 4 with If, that was supposed to lead into June, July, August, and spearhead the beginning of the summer box office season. And 3 of the 4 performed very poorly, which is unfortunate. So one of the reasons why my narrative that I said in my last show was that this is going to be a very, very bad summer for movies, in my opinion. But we're not here to talk about box office. We're here to talk about what I personally liked in the month of May that I watched out there in theaters. Arnold, which films of them did you look forward to the most? Out of all the movies in the month of May, the one movie I was looking forward to the most was Furiosa, because I loved Fury Road so much. Out of all the Mad Max movies, it is the best Mad Max movie. It was freaking like full on adrenaline, high octane, action packed. I felt like it was just like 2 hours worth of just action, nonstop action. I felt like you hardly had a moment to catch your breath. So I was really, really looking forward to that the most. And I would say mostly it did not disappoint me. Yeah, I could see why it's not as good as Fury Road. I've said that many times in my review, that there are certain things that, this was definitely more story focused and story heavy. It reminded me of like the older Mad Max films where there was a lot of exposition, a lot of like story building and world building, but it's a lot more than they've ever done with any Mad Max movie. So at least I feel like I understand the universe that they're in now more so than I ever did in the past, because I feel like George Miller didn't care about lore and continuity and all that before. He just kind of like threw things out there and just saw what stuck, right? His main focus was just the action bits, which he's always been good with. So Furiosa definitely had a lot more story, but I didn't hate it for that. I actually really appreciated it for that. So that was my most anticipated movie. My second anticipated movie was The Fall Guy, because it just looked like it was going to be a fun, entertaining movie. I kind of liked the chemistry I saw with Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. And I remember the old TV show. I used to watch reruns of The Fall Guy back in the day. So when I saw it, I said, this is a fun ass movie. This was a lot of fun. The chemistry was on point, right? The actions, the stunt scenes. Oh my God. The amount of work that they put into those stunt scenes were fantastic. So I was a little surprised that it didn't perform as well as I thought it should. But yeah, that's just, it's just how it is. Why is Mad Max Fury this, Fury that? What do you mean? I feel like reading that comment kind of gave me an aneurysm. What do you mean, Star-Lord? What really makes them so mad? Oh, well, I guess if you were to explain why they're all like that, it's because we're living in a world that's a post-apocalyptic kind of world where nothing seems right. There's lack of water. There's no resources. Everyone was exposed to, at one point, nuclear fallout, right? So it drives them mad. Plus, Max himself has lived a life on the road for years. And one of the things that he said, I believe, in the first Mad Max movie is that either there was a narration of him thinking this. It was in one of the first two movies where the longer you live on the road, the more you lose yourself and the more you lose your mind. So in a way, it drove him mad. And that's why we kind of see him where he is, especially in Fury Road, how he was kind of like, he lost it. He's just like out there, right? So that's how it would be explained. Why is the road itself mad? I think the road is just maddening. It's a maddening road, because there's a lot of stuff that happens at any given time on the road. So it's not like the road is like yelling at you like, why are you riding on me? Cars, get off my face, cars. Nothing like that. Damn you, cars, and you crazy bikes, and you guy with the freaking guitar and the speakers. Shut up. I'm trying to sleep. Bikers ran over his wife and kid. That used to be the reason why he was mad. Yeah, that's what led his revenge madness, right? But if you remember also, he all of those guys were killed. So after that, he had nowhere to go. He had no more home, no family to go back to. So then he just lived a life on the road and just, plus with everything that happened, the nuclear fallout, the destruction of cities, the government failing. I don't know. That would drive anyone mad, I would think. Definitely would drive me mad. Heck, today's government and all that drives me mad. And furious. Oh, Mad Max. Fury Road. So Fury Road, skip that part. Which part? The part about him losing his mind as he's on the road? Or what happened with like the destruction of cities and government and all that? Because a lot of that was explained between the Road Avenger, which was Mad Max 2, and Beyond Thunderdome. Beyond Thunderdome is where you kind of understood what happened with the world as the kids were like recapping everything with their cave drawings and all that. His origin story with the bikers. That still remained because the original Mad Max movie is still canon. And in Fury Road, if you remember, he would get like these flashbacks, and you would see like a child on the road just kind of reaching out to him. That's supposed to be like a grown up version of his daughter. So even though the events that happened in the first Mad Max is still canon, the visions that he sees, it's a different iteration of that family. Again, this is George Miller, who doesn't always like to stick to, continuity and all that. Arnold, if you want to see a nice film, you have to see Champion. I have seen that. Is that the movie with Woody Harrelson being signed to be a coach for a basketball team, and all the players of the basketball team, they all have mental difficulties, or some of them are disabled and all that? If that's the movie you're talking about, I have seen that movie, and I actually thought it was a very nice movie. I thought it was very well done. Very, very, very not promoted well. Not really marketed so well that a lot of people haven't seen that movie. But I saw that. I actually saw that in a screening. Like, I was invited to an early screening for that, and I wasn't sure what to expect from it, but I walked away enjoying it. I thought it was very nicely done. Very sweet story. Star-Lord. Everyone, Star-Lord 7 is now literally on the road, and he is furious. Star-Lord, Fury Road. Furiosa. Furious Road. I wouldn't call Fury Road a reboot sequel. I would just say it's a sequel that is slightly reimagining the Mad Max universe. Star-Lord is on. This is a quote. I am the road long and rock solid. Very nicely done. So yeah, Arnold, yeah. Champion, great movie. I do recommend that movie, and I feel like more people should definitely watch that movie. Give it a chance. Where is it even showing? I wonder. Let's look that up. Champions, Woody Harrelson. Let's see. It looks like currently right now it's not available on any streaming platform, at least here in the United States, which is unfortunate. But you could rent or buy it on all of your stuff. Also, I should also note that this is a movie that is directed by Bobby Farrelly of the Farrelly brothers. You remember a lot of their movies from back in the day, like Something About Mary and all that. And I was afraid that that sense of humor from back then wouldn't transfer over now. But honestly, it was very dummied down a little bit. So it wasn't so over the top like the Farrelly brothers movies that we got in the past. So I'm kind of happy that they did that, because if you go back to a lot of their movies that they did back in the day, like Me, Myself, Irene, Something About Mary, a lot of that type of comedy just doesn't fly anymore with today's audiences. That was definitely a moment in time. So even though you do get to see glimpse of that type of comedy stylings, it's definitely dummied down a little bit more so. So I was really happy to see that, at least. Arnold saying where he's from, it's free on WoW. Wow, isn't there there's a pay channel in Japan? Wow. I wonder if that's the same. AKB Mobile's in the house. What's up, AKB? Star-Lord 7 equals Furious Bro. So I am the Knight Rider. What is the full quote again, Star-Lord? I remember you pulled it up the other day. So good. So good. You do not reboot sequel Mad Max. Well, when you have the creator of Mad Max doing what he wants with it, yeah, I guess he it is what it is. And like I said, unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to get any more of it because of what happened with Furiosa, which sucks. All right. So I'm going to give the movies of May a report card rating here. Oh, here we go. Here's the full quote. I am the rocker. I am the roller. I am the out of controller. I am the Knight Rider. WoW is a platform from Sky here. It's almost everything SWAT and The Rookie. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing to me how cable and pay channels are in other regions. I don't know why, but I find it very fascinating. Sky is like your main cable service out there in Europe, right? I feel like they control everything for the most part, if I remember correctly. If I remember reading all that stuff correctly. Like if there was another platform, especially from America, that wanted to put out anything in Europe, they would have to go through Sky first, I believe. Stallard still championing Mel Gibson to be Knight Rider. That'll be awesome. If we ever get another Mad Max something, that would be awesome. AKB, a report card based off of my rating of the movies from May. The new movies that came out in May. I already went through the financials earlier as far as every new movie that came out in May. And the number one performer was Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And I'll go more into detail about that stuff on Monday when I talk about box office. I'll do a quick box office recap of the month of May. Arnold, almost everyone here has Sky for football. Oh, I could imagine. Is that the only way you can catch all the leagues? Premier, champion. What is it there for you guys in Germany? Oh, I briefly knew about it because I'm a big Tottenham Hotspur fan, and when Henry Kane moved over to Germany, I was like, oh man, sucks for us, but I just wish him for the best because I think he deserves something over there. And it sounds like he missed out again on a potential champion, right? Championship. There are a couples in free TV, but most of it costs. Ah, okay, interesting. Good to know. So ultimate villain. None of that. Kill him in one scene. Shit. No, he should like be like the main guy throughout the whole movie or whatever they decide to do. But when he does die, it should be like a full on glorious death. You know, because you know there are going to be a lot of people who are going to watch it just to see Mel Gibson get blown up or something. It's crazy to say, but it's true. It's true. You know there are going to be people who are going to want to see that because people are crazy, like me. All right, I got my notepad up, and I think let us get started on this whole report card situation here. All right. So, and I just want to make sure everyone here can see this. Boom. So first you have The Fall Guy. That was one of the first new movies that came out in the month of May. And I gave it a 4-star rating. That's basically Fall Guy. That's what I thought of Fall Guy here. Like I said, really enjoyed it. I thought it was a well-done movie. Great chemistry between Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. It's a movie you need to watch for the stunt sequences alone because they put a lot of work in those stunt sequences in that movie, and it really paid off big time. Big time. It's a 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5 stars. I'm going with the Letterboxd rating scale. 4 out of 5 stars. Yeah. So that's Fall Guy, right? Then I will count this too because it is a movie I saw in the theater. It is the Alien 45th anniversary re-release, right? And I never saw Alien in the theater because obviously it came out in 78, 77 or 78. I forget which year it is. But this was my first time seeing this movie on the big screen, and it still holds up today. So I gave that a 5-star rating. Then you have Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I always thought about how would this movie do now since we don't have Caesar. This movie takes place generations in the future where Caesar is no longer around. You don't even have immediate family from Caesar's side in this movie. You know, it's a brand new set of apes. It's a world where apes are dominant and the humans are the ones who are trying to survive and living in the wild. And then there's like a weird twist at the end. I won't spoil it here because I've already spoiled it before and when I was reviewing the movie. But they found a formula that works for this newer, I guess, generation of ape stories. And I thought it was very well done. It was very entertaining. It interests me. And I wanted to see more of this new version of the apes. So my rating for this was 4 stars. Arnold, I always find it funny what a shock Americans have when they see how the alcohol is with us. You can already buy beer at 60. I know. Well, that's one of the things that really threw me for a loop. Because like I said, I spent New Year's, one New Year's once celebrating it in Germany. And I just saw people that look like kids drinking their asses off over there. And look, at the end of the day, it was a fun time. But yeah, it is kind of jarring when I see that, for sure. Star-Lord, it's like a special ability. He can fuel his nos with his beard. What? Wait, is the Knight Rider, aka Mel Gibson, just gonna lean over the gas tank thing and just like wring his beard out? Like, here's my nos. I need fuel. I'm the Knight Rider. And by the way, I hate the Jews. Star-Lord is giving... All right, take it easy. Star-Lord is giving this version of the movie his AI script writing treatment. So, Arnold, also, just to go along with the whole alcohol thing, yeah, it is shocking because here in the States, you have to be like 21 to 25, depending on where in the States you are. So, yeah, major difference. Major difference. So, yeah. All right. This is another new movie, even though it's a re-release, and that is Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, celebrating its 25 years. And this is something I would say that I still don't consider this to be a good movie, but I do appreciate it years and years after the fact, especially when you see a younger generation watching this movie on the big screen for the first time. And that's how I kind of went about rating this, is how was it seeing this on the big screen again 25 years later after the fact? And the movie itself still is the same. I still don't think it's great. But the experience of watching on the big screen with the sound, the pod race scene still has, in my opinion, one of the best sound designs in all the Star Wars movies. And I still found myself watching the pod race scene and being like, this still looks pretty damn awesome. The fight scene with Darth Maul still holds up. And seeing the reaction of the kids in the theater, especially this one little boy with his father, and seeing how excited he got during certain moments, I said, this is why a movie like this exists. This is why when this movie came out back in 1999, why this, for that generation, did well for that generation. And why they're now all grown up and they're the ones championing that movie and those series of movies. Still gave it 3 stars out of 5. Because again, the movie still stinks in my opinion. But it was a fun time at the theater, I would say. Next new movie is Boy Kills World. This is, I don't even know how one would describe this movie. It stars Bill Skarsgård, who is going to be our new Eric Draven, the Crow, in the new movie coming out. Arnold has to go. Arnold, thank you so much again for hanging out and for the wonderful chat and conversation. Thank you again for the super chat. Really appreciate you. Hope to see you again on stream again soon. Have a wonderful, I guess, evening there. So thank you. Thank you. Star-Lord saying he cuts his beard with a Swiss Army knife. Once he's fully shaved, he must hibernate. What? Wow. You are really going all over the place with this lore for the new version of Knight Rider. And not Knight Rider like Michael Knight. The Knight Rider in the Mad Max movies. I'll just make that perfectly clear. Although, if you wanted to make him the new Michael Knight, by all means, tie it in that way. But yeah, Bill Skarsgård. So I went to this movie to see his action chops because we've seen Bill Skarsgård already in several movies before, but all he does is play awkward, creepy looking dudes. And a lot of the movies he does is horror movies, right? He's Pennywise in the It series. He was that creepy, weird dude that you wouldn't, you thought was the bad guy, but he was not, but he was still weird enough that you still were wondering at the end of the movie that he is kind of weird. In the movie Barbarian, that's what I'm talking about. He also played like this weird enigma of a character in that movie, in that series on Hulu, I believe it was. What was it called? It's the show that if you took all of Stephen King's story and put it in one town, that's what this show was about. I forgot. I thought it was a cool show. It only lasted, I think, 2 seasons. I wish it lasted more. But he played like the main like weird creep that was like supernaturally controlling everything and all that. And that's the type of roles he's always done. So I was wondering, how was he going to be in like a full-blown action movie? And for the most part, he did okay. He's definitely ripped. You know, the only thing that stands out to me is that this dude is tall. He is really freakishly tall, and he's very slender. So when he does a lot of the fight scenes, the majority of the people he fights are like extremely short. So it's like, it reminded me of when Bruce Lee fought Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And I was just like, it looks cool. And on paper, I'm sure it sounded awesome. But there are times when you would watch it and you're just like, this just looks weird, man. It doesn't look like it should work. But it is what it is, right? And the movie itself was just very... I described it as if you were to really see the embodiment of a live action anime, this is a pretty good candidate for that. A lot of over-the-top stuff, a lot of over-the-top sequences. The characters are extremely over-the-top. When there's blood, there's an abundance amount. Like, there's just an insane amount of gore and blood in some of the action scenes. I described that there was this one moment where Bill Skarsgård gets a knife to the thigh, and the guy's like, I'm not going to stop here, and just, pulls the knife all the way down to his calf. So he has this gaping wound. And then he does the same thing to his arm, where bicep to forearm. I'm just like, is this necessary? And of course, again, it's, you have to kind of not think of it in real terms. The dude still continued to fight after all that. I mean, if it was any other guy, that guy would be done. But no, this is Bill Skarsgård. This is Boy Kills World. And another weird thing about this movie is that he had no dialogue throughout the whole film because his character is deaf and mute. So it was kind of hard for me to judge how Bill can, what he can do in a full-blown action movie, because I didn't get the action and dialogue that I would expect in a movie like that. So, when it comes to The Crow and Eric Draven, there is going to be dialogue, because Eric his personality is that he's very sarcastic and witty, and he likes to play with his victims, right? So there's a lot of back and forth there, along with the action stuff. So I couldn't get a good sense of what that was going to be like with him here. But I thought for the most part, most of the movie was entertaining. A lot of it was just kind of like, what's happening? What's going on? This is bizarre. So I gave it 3 stars, right? Right? That was my Letterboxd rating for that. Then, now we have Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. And this is one of the things that baffled me the most as far as how poorly it did at the box office. It's a great movie. It's not Fury Road, like I've said before, but it's one of the first times that we actually got a full explanation of the universe, the lore. It's a lot of story in this one. And when the action scenes were there, it was entertaining. The thing that took me out a little bit was that a lot more CG was involved in this movie. So you could kind of tell, too. I always say that, and once it comes out digitally, I'm gonna make sure I do a clip out of this. There's a moment where you see Chris Hemsworth's character talking to Furiosa, and literally in the back, it's as if you got George Lucas with his special editions. You have characters that are in the back that are all fake, and you could tell. It's very easy to tell. I'm just like, oh man, you know, you couldn't just have some extras just in the back, just walking normally. You have like these digital characters kind of with their weird walk. I'm just like, oh, dude, like this really sucks. So I was very much disappointed about that. But overall, the movie is a great movie. So I gave that 4 out of 5 stars for that. And just for reference, I gave Fury Road 5. For me, that is like the perfect action movie and one of the best Mad Max movies ever. Now, some of the last 2 movies I saw in the month of May, one is Back to Black. This is the biopic of Amy Winehouse. Very controversial from what I've seen. This movie had a long release window in Europe before it hit here in America. And I saw a lot of discourse when this movie comes out. Now, obviously, when it comes to biopics, the one thing I always say is that we never will know the full story because we were never really there personally. We were never with them when they were going through a lot of their moments. So a lot of the things that we learn and that we know about a person or group is based off of stories being told by others, stories that are being told by the person themselves or the group themselves, you know, or someone that was with them 24/7. That's the only way we're ever going to get a full situation, a full story. What I will say is that the movie Back to Black, and this is going to be my review of the movie because I never had a chance to review because I really just saw it this past week, is that this is a great companion piece to the documentary that came out in 2015 called Amy. There's a documentary of Amy Winehouse called Amy released by A24. And it's one of those documentaries that the whole documentary is being told through dialogue from Amy Winehouse, dialogue from those around her, her parents, managers, you know, people who her friends. You never hear like Q&A, you never hear the documentary person talking or narrating anything. And the majority of the footage is just all real footage from, you know, clips from her shows, clips from behind the scenes, personal camcorder clips, and all those things. You know, a very nicely well done documentary. And the documentary pretty much tries to cover everything from her growing up, her backstory, you know, how she became a singer, you know, her first initial moments, the highlights of her career, the downsides of her career, the love affair that she's had with that Blake guy, who a lot of people blame for her addictions to alcohol and drugs, up until her death, right? What the movie does here is that it spends more time behind the scenes and spends a lot of time on her relationships with her parents, her relationships with her grandma, who she really looked up to and considers to be like her role model when it comes to style and kind of personality and persona. A lot of it had to deal with the relationship she had with this Blake character and the love, romance, and heartbreak that she experienced with this person. And kind of the relationship she had with herself in dealing with a lot of the I guess the troubling and challenging moments of her life. And I guess one of the things that made it so controversial was that I think a lot of people were kind of expecting the Bob Marley treatment that we got with the Bob Marley movie that came out. We want to just enjoy and experience the music and the performances of Amy Winehouse. But I think in order to really tell a great story, you have to explore the person behind the scenes. And I think this movie does a pretty decent job with it. I felt like, and don't get me wrong, I was very, very skeptical about the movie when I heard about it because the director, I'm going to pull up her name right now, actually. Hold on. I'm going to change this and I'm going to bear with me for a moment. just pull this up. Back to Black. So the director of this movie is, hold on, sorry. The director is Sam Taylor Johnson. Now, you may hear that name and you're probably like, who the hell is that? Remember that movie, 50 Shades of Grey? She was the one that directed that movie. And I know there was a lot of discourse when that movie came out. A lot of people hated it. A lot of people liked it. You know, a lot of people said it was smut and trash. I mean, the book was kind of smut and trash, to be honest with you. But that movie was just very mixed all around, right? And I think for the most part, that movie was made fun of the most out of anything. It was just a movie that people made fun of. So when I heard that she was the one directing this movie, I was like, oof, I don't know how this is gonna be like. But I think for the most part, and maybe this is also where some of the controversy comes from, is that I think for the most part, she did a decent job at exploring Amy's kind of personality and her relationships. But she did spend a lot of time about Amy's addictions and Amy's challenges and the destructive nature of Amy Winehouse. Like I said before, a lot of people would put a lot of blame on this Blake character, her boyfriend, husband, all that, in kind of introducing her to this world of alcohol and drugs, and which eventually led to her downfall, right? And they even cover that in the movie too, where there's a scene where she's visiting him in jail after he got arrested. And, he said, like, I'm here. I haven't had a touch of alcohol. I haven't had any drugs. And I'm working out a lot. I'm sobering up. And all I see are paper clippings of you out there having fun, hanging out with other blokes, all this. And I don't know how I feel about that. And I think, a lot of people blame me for how you are acting and how you're living on your life, when in a way, we are just two toxic people that go off of each other and in a way want to one up each other as far as how we are being destructive to ourselves. And I don't think that's a relationship that's worthy to have or that is healthy to have, because I'm feeling good right now. And that's kind of what led to their eventual divorce. Now, again, I don't know how true this was, right? But if you look at what the documentary covered, you would learn that Amy did suffer from depression at a very young age. She was at one point on antidepressants. She was known to rely on alcohol a lot to kind of mask and cover her sadness, her depression. And that was even before she met this Blake character. Now, I don't know if Blake was the one who introduced her to the hard stuff, the hard drugs, the heroin, whatever. But it was something that she definitely willingly, from what it seemed like, took on herself. And the way that the biopic, the movie kind of portrayed her situations in life is that each of the songs that she wrote was from her own personal experiences. This is something that she covers in it. And when you hear like movies like songs like Rehab, Back to Black, and you hear what she sings about, you could easily kind of like associate with, okay, she's talking about her time with Blake. She's talking about her time when, she was like hitting rock bottom and they wanted her to go to rehab, So anytime those moments came about, that's when they would highlight her creating this song. And that would highlight the song. In the documentary, it kind of did the same thing too. So I feel like Sam, the director, saw this documentary and almost took beat by beat what happened in the documentary and turned it into a movie format. Because the one thing that she did well was that she did very well at recreating specific moments in Amy Winehouse's career. Her first TV interview, major TV interview in UK television. Her breakout performance at a local pub. Her Grammy performance and speech when she won album of the year or something, or artist of the year or something like that. They recreated those moments almost to the T, which was kind of weird because if you look at the moments in the movie to the in real life moments that really happened, it looked almost 1-to-1. So she did a really good job at that. There are obviously a lot of things that she didn't cover, like how her father was very much riding, or appears to have been riding, on Amy's coattails, and focused too much on the business and too much on her responsibilities as a performer, as a celebrity, instead of focusing too much on her being healthy and recovering. The documentary goes into that quite a bit. So that's something that was not covered in the movie. The movie ended basically with her not being with Blake anymore, her winning the Grammys, and still not feeling that level of happiness and dealing with a lot of the demons that she has inside of her. She moved into a new apartment, which she, in real life, she did a long time ago. So this takes place, it kind of makes you feel like she did this like later on. And then just kind of like dealing with the fact that she may never always be happy. And she may never be happy with the stardom and the celebrity, which is something that she never wanted. And just having solace within herself in this new apartment all alone, that this may be the only moment that she could ever have peace, right? And then we get the typical ending of like, Amy Winehouse died of blah, 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 this and that. She was only 27 years old, kind of yada, yada, yada. Blake, but, kind of that typical like biopic kind of like, this is where they are now. This is what happened afterwards. And I'm not saying that you have to cover a lot of that stuff, but there is definitely more to it. So that's why I kind of say that this would be a great companion piece. If you saw this movie, I would highly recommend you go and watch the Amy documentary if you want to learn more about her life and get some of the holes filled in that was kind of left after watching a movie like this. Overall, I feel like I knew a lot already about her because of that documentary. And even though I appreciate and I acknowledge what they were trying to do in this film, give her more of, or allow the audience to be more sympathetic about her because of the relationships that she's had throughout her life, it would have been nice to kind of cover more about her successes and the moments that made her happy. It did feel like they focused a lot on the sadness, the depression, the heartbreak, the destruction of herself. They did. I feel like that was a lot of the focus here, and I think that's why a lot of people kind of talked badly about this movie when it came out. I will say the actress Marissa Abela, who played Amy, who, by the way, did all of her own singing. So all the lyrics that were sung, all the songs that were like, she sung herself, and she sounded very much like Amy Winehouse. However, there were times where I felt like it was just an Amy Winehouse impersonator. And I felt like it was a little bit too silly or a little bit over the top with her impersonation of Amy Winehouse. It's kind of like having an Elvis impersonator play Elvis, especially when it comes to the songs. At times it felt like that, So I saw comments online saying that, the songs were all shit and the performances were shit. I don't necessarily agree with all of that, but I will say that there were moments where I felt like karaoke, like this is someone who's pretending to be Amy Winehouse at like a grand karaoke event or something. But for the most part, I thought she did a great job at portraying Amy Winehouse. Even they did a great job with recreating a lot of her outfits, her looks, her makeup, the cadence that she had when she spoke. The one thing you didn't see was like her major body transformation, because one thing Amy did was she suffered from bulimia too. So you didn't really see like the deterioration of her body in time, because the actress is already very thin to begin with. and she didn't go to the extreme route of like gaining weight and then losing weight. You know, if this was something from another actor or actress, that like a Hollywood style actress, I could see them putting themselves through that. Charlize Theron did that in one of her movies where she put on so much weight just to like portray this one particular character. I could see that happening, but they didn't go that route this way, you know, which is fine. You know, you can kind of just ignore it. Jack O'Connell, I thought did a great job at representing the Blake character. I thought that was very, very well done. The parents, for the most part, I thought was okay, but I thought the relationship she had with her grandma was very sweet and very, very cute. Very touching, especially when she passed away. And that was like a major milestone of Amy's life. It's like when she lost her grandma, she lost her icon. She lost her shoulder to kind of lean on, because she was never really fully 100% close with her parents. She really was very extremely close to her grandma, you know, which we've seen in many cases before in the past with a lot of people. So it was okay, I think, for the most part. I think I liked the documentary more. But if this is like your entry into like an introduction to, you know, Amy Winehouse, because Amy Winehouse was such a small pocket in the music world. She only released 2 albums, right? And she's 27 years old. You know, she didn't live that long, but she definitely left a dent to those who remember her. I mean, she was like one of the most unique voices in music when she was out at the time. You know, I'll never forget in the documentary they cover when she did the duet with Tony Bennett, who was like one of her all-time idols, and just seeing her kind of personality shine through, and how she was so awestruck in the moment that she didn't want to mess up. And I remember every time she wasn't singing well, she would constantly kept apologizing and saying like, I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste your time. You know, and it just kind of shows you the type of person that she is. So, you know, I thought they did a very good job at least trying to push that through, that she was a very sweetheart of a girl that just had a lot of demons inside of her. You know, that affected herself and how she carried her life. The documentary definitely dives deeper into her overall destruction of herself, her career, especially towards the end there. So I think at the end of the day, I gave the movie 3 stars out of 5. It was okay. There were certain things I wish they could have done more. But if this is your like intro to Amy Winehouse, do yourself a favor and then go to that documentary Amy, released by A24, and you get a bigger story and a full breadth of the story there. So yeah. So that, all that to say that Back to Black was 3 out of 5 stars. Starlord, sorry I missed some of your comments here. Let's see here. The Mel Gibson version, so it's all over the place. Everyone can hear him at a 10-mile radius. I swear this will overshadow Furiosa. Stephen Ogg is also in my movie. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. See, this is why my story would be written by Paul Giamatti. I got 40 years of men. Look, the one thing I say all the time is that everyone has a story to tell. All you have to do is just sit down and listen. And anyone's story can be interesting, you know? And that's one of the reasons why I do what I do here, is because I like sharing stories, you know? And I want to be able to share stories with people, share my opinions with people, because I'm sure it's going to bring out similar situations from those watching, right? And one of the things I love about this platform, love and hate, I guess, is because those who do it right tell and share very interesting stories that are true, that they experienced. The opposite side of things is that there's some people that maybe should not tell their stories because it's, you know, it's just insane, right? And it causes controversy and discourse and, you know, divisiveness, you know. And then there are some who tell stories pretending they're true, but they're fabricated, So that's where it gets kind of weird and blah. But it is what it is. So Back to Black was one of the last movies I saw in May. And then one of the last things I saw in May was Idea Man. Idea Man is the new documentary on Disney Plus. So I shouldn't talk about this because it's not a theatrical release, but it is a movie. And like I said, it is a brand new thing that I saw in this month. I give this documentary 4 stars out of 5. Now, if you know nothing about Jim Henson, I highly recommend you watch this because this documentary goes into what made Jim Henson Jim Henson. We've gotten documentaries already in the past about Sesame Street and the creation of Sesame Street. We've gotten documentaries already in the past about the Muppets, how the Muppets were created, the Muppet Show or the movies, like the Muppet Movie, Muppets Take Manhattan, all that stuff, right? We've already gotten documentaries and behind the scenes of a lot of those things. What we never really got until now was a documentary about Jim Henson himself. How he became to be, how he created Sesame Street, but not just that. How that eventually led to the Muppets, how that eventually led to the movies, how that eventually led to all the other things that he did, and also how it impacted the people that worked around him. And what I loved about this documentary is that you had his kids talking about him. This is the first time I have heard his kids talk about their father. The kids still run and own Jim Henson. Well, Disney owns Jim Henson, but they still run, the workshop and all that. Frank Oz is in this, and he talks, Frank Oz and Jim were best friends. And he does a lot of talking about Jim Henson and how it was like working with him, the creative mind that he had, how they collaborated on a lot of things, how Jim Henson entrusted Frank Oz to take lead on directing things like, The Dark Crystal or whatever, because he felt like he needed Frank to do the main stuff while Jim Henson just focused on the creative side of things. So it was very, very amazing to hear Frank talking about Jim Henson. You had Jennifer Connelly talking about Jim Henson because of her work on Labyrinth with him. So it was really amazing just to hear these people who have experienced working with Jim, behind the scenes or whatever, his kids talking about him. They talked a lot about the relationship with his wife, who helped create Muppets Inc. with Jim Henson, who was there very much from the beginning, and how eventually they could no longer be together because of work and how they separated and all that. So it really made you understand and help you understand more about Jim Henson himself. And as someone who grew up with Sesame Street and the Muppets being so huge in my life, how Jim Henson for me will always be on the same level as like a Mr. Rogers. It was a very, very well done documentary. Of course, it's directed by Ron Howard. You don't hear him talk at all. He just basically lets the voices of Frank Oz, his kids, and everyone else do all the talking while he splices in a lot of the clips. And if you are looking for something like that in the history of Henson and the creations that he's involved in, this is a great documentary to check out. Yeah, Star-Lord. It's on Disney Plus right now if you want to check it out, if you have access to Disney Plus. Unfortunately, but I guess I wouldn't say unfortunately, but with a lot of stuff that they talked about, I already knew because I read a lot of books. I already mentioned a lot that one of my favorite museums here in the city is the Museum of Moving Image that has a Jim Henson wing that I kind of helped contribute to. And I was there opening night, and I've been to that exhibit multiple times. I've been to a lot of programs for Jim Henson that was done there multiple times. So I felt like a lot of the backstory about himself was was already explained to me very well, and I learned a lot about that stuff a long time ago. But for those people who don't know a lot about those things and don't have access to like those experiences, I highly recommend this documentary because it's so well done. And you'll understand how his mind works, or at least get an understanding of how his mind works. And not only that, but his work ethic, which, unfortunately led to his sickness and how he eventually passed away. He was a workaholic. This guy never stopped working, never took any breaks. And you're hearing this from his own children. Like, he would work during vacations, when he had a day off, he would use that time to think about something new to do, something new to create. The guy was just endlessly working. But it was that drive that inspired a lot of the people around him. It was that drive that inspired people to do better on a lot of the projects that they worked on. So he left that legacy that stayed in everyone's mindsets for a very, very long time. And it's so sweet and so touching. And yes, I did cry several times throughout the documentary, especially when they were doing the funeral, when they covered the part about the funeral that he laid out for them, that whenever he was to pass away, he wanted his funeral to do all of these things. He made a list, and they did everything on that list. That's why if you watch it now, you're like, well, it looks like a weird celebration or a weird kind of carnival, but that's what he wanted. That's the way he wanted his funeral to be like. And it was very, very touching, a very touching moment. So yeah, highly recommended. 4 out of 5 stars. I would say, if you're at any point in your life, if you were ever a fan of Sesame Street, The Muppets, I did not know. The one thing I did learn, and again, it kind of shows you the way he was thinking. Think about this for a minute. He created Sesame Street as an easy way, or an easier way, to help teach kids in underprivileged communities to learn through the media of television, because television wasn't being used enough for educational purposes. And how can he do that? By being entertaining and being able to touch and reach the minds of young kids. And he created Sesame Street for that. The Muppets was how can I use the art form of puppetry to entertain adults? He created the Muppet Show, put it in a prime time slot, and was able to have guests on that would relate to the adult audiences, but have adults being entertained through the same methods that they use to entertain kids. That's the Muppet Show. I did not realize that he created Fraggle Rock because he wanted to create something that would end war, or that kind of showed people how you could end war. And if you look back on that show, you had that ongoing conflict between the Fraggles, the Dozers, the humans, and those like trash monsters, right? And everyone had some things going against each one of those people, right? But at the end of the day, you showed how they all tried to work together in order to stop the hatred, stop the fighting, and try to be as one community. I never thought of it that way, because when I was a kid, I watched it because, oh, I love the music. Oh, the Dozers are so cute. But I didn't realize it was about conflict solving and conflict resolution. But that's what he wanted to do. And that's why he created Fraggle Rock. Never thought of it that way. So that's one thing I would say I could easily take away from this documentary. And how he pushed the needle on creativity. He pushed the creativity like on his shows like The Storyteller or the Jim Henson Hour. How he entrusted his eldest son to work on technology and how to do puppetry with using remotes. And how studios would come to them for help on their projects. And the stories about the Henson Company working on movies like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and all that. And why he sold his company to Disney. One, He was a major fan of Disneyland and Disney World. He loved going to the parks. And 2, he was tired of running the company. He hated it. He wanted to focus on creativity, creation, doing the stuff instead of numbers and spreadsheets, and he hated it. So he said, you know what? I think Disney will do a better job. So he sold the company to Disney. Under the condition of the Henson family would still own the rights for Sesame Street, Muppets, and anything after that. And they agreed. Disney takes care of the business side of things, while the Henson company, the Henson family, still maintain all control of creativity. Could that also be why maybe we haven't seen much success with the Muppet franchise? Because maybe there's a little disconnect there. Maybe they could use more help from Disney on that aspect. I don't know. Or did society and people just change in time where stuff like that is not interesting anymore or entertaining? I don't know. It's hard to say. But those are some of the things that you learn from this documentary. And I think it's very much worth the watch. So that's why I give it a 3 out of 5 stars. Star-Lord, what did you think about the Mr. Rogers biopic with Tom Hanks? I never saw it. You know why? Because I already saw the documentary and that's all I need to see. I don't think I need to see the biopic. Eventually I will see it. But when you watch the Mr. Rogers documentary, that's the only thing you ever need to watch about Mr. Rogers. That is one documentary. And I was lucky enough to see that documentary at a special screening that I was invited to. Hold on, Mr. Rogers documentary. I just want to make sure I call it correctly. Won't You Be My Neighbor? Won't You Be My Neighbor basically just shows you the life of Mr. Rogers, how he came about his creation, how he came about his messaging, and the long-lasting effect it left on all of us who grew up with that. When I saw this in the theater, with all the special guests, not a dry eye at the end of that movie. Everyone was crying. And it was such a weird moment where you knew and you felt that everyone was feeling the same way you all were, that everyone else was. I'll know if I've ever had an experience like that before. And after seeing that, yeah, Tom Hanks looks like Mr. Rogers, but I don't think I felt I needed to see that movie. Like I said, eventually I will, but Won't You Be My Neighbor is the one movie you need to watch if you want anything about Mr. Rogers. Star-Lord, until the Wicked Witch made an appearance on the show, then we were educated about trauma. Whoa, Fraggle Rock lore drop. Yeah. That blew my mind when I learned about the creation of Fraggle Rock. Surprised that didn't get a 4 for just from you, knowing how much of a Jim Henson fan you are. Well, I gave it a 4 out of 5. The reason why I didn't get a full 5 is because I knew a lot of this stuff already. So I felt like in a way I'm biased, or I was kind of like, when I watch something like this, I kind of want to know more that I already don't know. So I took away a star because of that. If I didn't know any of that stuff, I could easily see myself give it a 5, but it's definitely a 4 out of 5. And the decline of Chuck E. Cheese based. The Chuck E. Cheese and Atari saga, yeah. Again, what Star-Lord is referring to, and I don't know if a lot of people know this, but it's not Chuck E. Cheese's, was it? Or was it? Yeah, Chuck E. Cheese was created by the co-creator of Atari. And then Showbiz Pizza was its competitor that popped up around the same time. And then they eventually had to merge. That's another interesting story behind all of that stuff. But yeah. That's Charles Entertainment Cheese to you. That's hilarious. All right. So since we have my recap of all of the ratings that we have here for all of the movies that I saw in May, let's put them in order. Right? So the only movie out of everything that I saw that I gave 5 stars was Alien. So the Alien re-release goes up on top. Right? There are several other movies here that I gave 4-star ratings to. Fall Guy, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Furiosa, Idea Man, right? So I would say number 2, excuse me, sorry guys. I'll give number 2 to Furiosa, Mad Max Saga. That will be my number 2 for the month of May. Again, I already said how much I love the story. Number 3, I give to Fall Guy. Number 4, I'll give to Idea Man. Number 5, which is perfectly right here, I give to Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Number 6, I'll give to Back to Black, the Amy Winehouse documentary. And number 7 goes to Phantom Menace. And number 8 will go to, oops, Boy Kills World. So there you go. That is my ranking of the new movies that came out in the month of May that I saw. And like I said, there were a lot of horror movies that came out in May, but I didn't see all of them. I usually try to wait for those movies to come out on streaming because I always, in my mind, plan to do like reaction videos to those things. But unless it's a movie that I really am looking forward to, like, for example, I'm really looking forward to The Watchers. I'm really looking forward to, what is that? The M. Night Shyamalan movie. The Shyamalan family movies I'm looking forward to. So I'm definitely going to watch those in theaters. But like, I was not interested in watching Tarot or what are some of these other movies that came out? Whatchamacallit here? Like, I wasn't interested in watching The Strangers. You know, the Garfield movie was definitely not interested in watching that. If I was not interested in watching that, I'll watch If eventually when it comes to streaming. Then I'll do my review after that. The Garfield movie, we'll see. Now, I am interested to see. I saw the TV Glow, but it's not showing in my theater yet. I don't know if it will, ever will. But yeah. Just, you know, The Pool Man I heard was awful. So it is what it is. But yeah. I only like talking about movies that I am interested in watching. And that's basically how I carry myself and the channel here. So. No. Elitist reviewer. Oh. The Blue Angels after the Navy flight. The Blue Angels, I think I can watch on Prime now. I think that's available on Prime. So I'll get to it eventually. The Garfield movie I'll watch when it's on streaming. And honestly, one, I didn't want to see it. I had no interest in it. And two, I also, if I did, I didn't have the time to go out and see it. Like, you know, Back to Black, I actually watched at home. I didn't go to the theater for that. So, elitist reviewer. I like that. I don't care if you're joking or what. I love that. That's awesome. That's funny. Here I am. That should be my new name. Renee is a lot of low-key geek elitist reviewer. The Blue Angels, it's just a documentary about the Blue Angels. I think it's narrated by what's his name? Glenn Powell. Glenn Powell, I think he spends time with the Blue Angels, and it's a documentary about the Blue Angels themselves. So I think, yeah, you could watch it on Prime now if I remember correctly. Yeah, so I can't picture. Yeah, I know you're a big fan of the Blue Angels. I remember you took footage when you saw them once. I think that is something you would love to see, AKB, for sure. Absolutely. So I can't picture Chris Pratt as anything else but Mario now. Yeah, that's another thing too that also weirded me out. It's like, not only do you have Chris Pratt voicing Mario, but he also voices Garfield now. So I'm just like, okay, did we run out of voice actors to cast in movies? I mean, because there's a huge amount of them out there. A lot of them a lot better than Chris Pratt. So, as far as like other movies I watched in the month, I mean, there are some older movies I watched in the month, but I don't think it's worth ranking them or rating them. And most of them are all about movies that, you know, were part of franchises. So, for example, I watched the entire Planet of the Apes franchise leading to Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I watched the Mad Max franchise leading up to Furiosa. So I did a lot of that type of watching. So, and I already ranked my Mad Max movies in a previous episode, so you could check that out if you're interested. If I were to rank the Planet of the Apes movies, I would say, how would I rank this? I would say War of the Planet of the Apes is number 1. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is number 2. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is 3. Rise of the Planet of the Apes is 4. And I'm not including the Marky Mark Planet of the Apes because that would probably go under all that. If I'm to be completely honest. Because that movie, whew, that's a Tim Burton Planet of the Apes. No thanks. Definitely a weird. What a movie. What a movie. He is hogging the animations. Did he flip a coin in a wishing well? I guess so. Or wasn't there people who were hating on Chris Pratt online because of his religion? He doesn't really make a lot of statements on controversial stuff, right? He's very private about that. So did he like secretly sign a contract with the devil so that he could now be the voice actor, the go-to voice actor for movies? AKB makes sense. Keeping your rankings to just the ones that released last month makes sense for a month. And thank you, AKB. I appreciate that. I'm glad you understand. Hey, it's a Paul Giamatti movie, bub. You're right. It is your narrator for your life, so I shouldn't talk so badly about that. I wonder if Paul Giamatti, if that, you know when we do the in memoriam at the Oscars, is his role in Planet of the Apes going to be one of the things that they show? It's going to be Sideways, and then it's going to be the Holdovers, and then it's going to be Planet of the Apes. Those are the clips they're going to show in memoriam at the Oscars. What's going on, Gorilla Fantasy? Oh, I heard a great conspiracy theory about Hollywood. All right, you want to share it with us? Share it with the class. Let's see. Let's see what the conspiracy theory is. Sorry, I don't mean for the dead air. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting in this anticipation for what this is. So let's. By the way, if I haven't said it before, please, if you're watching this on in any format, please don't forget to hit that like button. I would really greatly appreciate it. Thank you. All right, here is Guerrilla Fantasy's conspiracy. In Hollywood, they get an offer they can't refuse, and the industry gives them great wealth. But one day, they will be called up to do something insane. So, believe it or not, that is something that I have heard already before. You know, we and I'll try not to get too much into this because this is where we get into a weird realm of rabbit holes and all that. There's always talks about Illuminati, you know, and there are talks about similar things and ties like in Hollywood too. And the one thing I'll say, and I've had conversations with my own friends, you know, like for example, Oz Green. You've seen him pop up on the stream from time to time. You know, one of my closest friends. We talk about this sometimes. When you have someone blow up in Hollywood out of nowhere, sometimes you have to wonder why, right? You also have people who've been around for a very long time, who all of a sudden now they're the hot ticket. And why is that, right? Great examples. Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart has been doing comedy for a very, very long time. He used to show up on like Def Comedy Jam when you used to watch the shows on HBO. And he was okay. His comedy was okay. Sometimes funny, sometimes not. But if you look now, the last, 5 years, all of a sudden he's just everywhere, right? He's doing movies with The Rock. He's like leading movies. He's coming up in a new movie, Borderlands, this year. Why? Why all of a sudden now? He's in a lot of commercials. Why now? Tiffany Haddish, another one who at one point you saw her in almost everything. Why? I don't think she's that funny, to be completely honest with you. You know? But you see her popping up a lot. Look what's happening right now to Jennifer Lopez. At one point, one of the biggest stars out there, right? She had a slew of movies on Netflix that tanked. Now her concerts are canceled. Her tour is canceled because no one's buying tickets, right? No one's buying tickets to these shows. So is it because she pissed someone off? Did she do something? Yeah. Look at everything that's happening with Puff Daddy right now. Did he piss off someone? Did he not pay someone? You kind of wonder, right? Girl, like they'll have to do a ridiculous endorsement or some kind of example, something out of character. Star-Lord, that explains Mel Gibson. I love how we've come full circle here back to Mel Gibson. AKB hurts similar things like that every now and again. Yeah. Kevin Hart is hashing people about their Illuminati, is hushing people about the Illuminati. How about Matt Damon? Blew up out of nowhere, got an Oscar, a bunch of movies, then one day he's doing ads for a crypto scam. That's a good one. That's definitely a good one. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this was all true. Look, it is what it is. The thing you have to also think about is there's a whole world out there that many of us will never understand or ever know, right? Hollywood is one of them. The insidings and secrets of politics and government, the army, military. You know, there's a lot of things out there that we've heard rumors about that we'll never truly, fully know because we're just not in it. We may never know, but I'm sure there's some crazy stuff that happens. Some crazy shit out there. So it's always interesting to talk about and hear stories about. You know, but at the end of the day, we may never know. You know, but you do think about it. You do take pause and think about, you know, look at the whole thing. Dude, I was just about to say that. Star-Lord, Scientology. Great example about that. And notice where they have their main headquarters too. In LA. Think about it. Right? And again, I don't want to be like Mr. Conspiracy Theory here. You know, I don't want to do that. But just think about it. You know, why is their main headquarters in LA? Or that owl they go worship. And Star-Lord, Xenu will never beat the Knight Rider. AKB, did you have a chance to watch Ghostbusters Frozen Empire yet? Like that King of Queens actress who broke from Scientology and started talking about it, right? Yup. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you hear some of those stories that she tells. Oh, and they hate her too. They hate her. They've tried so hard to silence her. Is that Lee Remini? I think is her name, right? Lee Remini. I think that's the actress's name. They tried very hard to silence her. But you know who? Now, I could be wrong too. Isn't that actress Elizabeth Moss? Isn't she a Scientologist too? But the type of roles that she does seems very outside of that realm. So I wonder what the deal is with her. AKB, not yet, sorry. And yeah, some of her stories are bananas. And yeah, she'll never work in that town. Yeah. Oh, no. She is forever banished. Forever banished. Isn't she doing like a podcast now that's somewhat popular? Well, this is not spoiling anything, AKB. But when you do, listen for this sound bit. One of my favorite sound clips of that movie. Probably the only time I ever laughed out loud in that movie, to be honest. Yeah, the Super Bowl really means superb owl. That's how I call it. Elizabeth Moss definitely signed away her soul. Yeah, she did something. I don't know. Not wanting to talk bad about her. I love her as an actress. I think she is a great actress. If you want to see her chops on like full display, you gotta watch The Invisible Man. Really underrated movie and underrated performance of hers. I've always been a big fan of hers. But when I heard that she was a Scientologist, I'm like, huh? Like, really? So weird. Like, for her to do the kind of roles that she does. I'm like, huh, all right. Was actually wondering about that new sound bite. Oh, there you go. And I will say nothing else about it. What about it? Forrest Gump making those hand signs? What? What are you talking about, Star Lord? What hand signs? Which scene? Yeah, girl, it's an interesting topic to talk about, you know. But appreciate you, man. Appreciate you for swinging by and having the chat. Really, really appreciate it. Hope to see you again in another stream. The bus scene when Jenny leaves. Wasn't it just a peace sign? Didn't he just flash the peace sign and that was it? Or am I missing? Am I forgetting something? No, the other hand. Oh man, I totally missed it. Let me see if I can pull it up. Oh, oh wow! It's so funny. I do a search for it, and someone actually has a screenshot with it circled. Are you talking about this? Hold on, I'm going to share my screen. And unfortunately, I can't zoom in because it won't let me. You're talking about this? The upside down peace sign? I never noticed this ever. And I've watched Forrest Gump multiple times and I've never noticed this. It is kind of weird. Like, why would he do that? Is it some, or was it like some kind of weird reflex reaction or something? Or was he, kind of like reminding himself, oh, do the peace sign? You want to talk about weird signs? You know, what about that little kid in Back to the Future 3? Huh? Am I right? You know, the whole it's a symbol meaning as above, so below. Interesting. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to watch that clip. Like rewatch that clip. Because again, I've never noticed it. Never noticed it. That should be a future conversation we have here on the stream. Weird things that happen in movies in like that, you know, that don't necessarily belong in the movie. You know, like weird moments, outtakes that happen behind the scene, not behind the scenes, but on camera that they never edited out. Because there's a lot of them that happens in movies, which is so funny. It's funny the amount of times something like that happens that never gets edited out. Like if this is one of them, then I am curious what's going on there. You know, that Back to the Future scene I mentioned, I think is hilarious. The ending of Teen Wolf, where the guy whips his schlong out. It's crazy shit. It's so funny. It cracks me up. They compared that moment in Forrest Gump to a demonic painting? The fuck? Are you serious? That's insane. You know what you're gonna let me? You're gonna now force me, Star Lord, to go down a weird YouTube rabbit hole because you know that's what's gonna end up happening. This could be a whole show about movie conspiracies. You're damn right. You're right. That is so true. Like I always believed, honestly, I always believed when who was it? Ah shit. Hold on. This is something I believed for a very long time. That Stanley Kubrick, when he directed and released that movie Eyes Wide Shut, I honestly felt like he made a movie about the Hollywood Illuminati. And he knew he was on his way out, right? Because Stanley Kubrick is dead, right? I want to make sure. I want to make sure that I'm not speaking out of term here. But Stanley Kubrick, because that was the last movie he directed, I believe. So when he was about to die, I felt like he wanted to kind of in his own way expose Hollywood. So I always thought and believed that Eyes Wide Shut was him kind of doing that. Dude, Mel Gibson talked about this stuff in an interview when he was making The Patriot. Okay, but let's be honest. Mel Gibson has said a lot of shit before. So, you know, AKB, I can believe that about Stanley Kubrick. Yeah. Because wasn't he like when he directed whatchamacallit, when he directed The Shining, wasn't he, and I don't know if this was done on purpose or if other conspiracy theorists just took this and ran with it, that he was kind of playing on the fact that he helped, because isn't the rumor, the controversial rumor that he helped direct and film us the whole Apollo mission when they landed on the moon, that was actually what we saw on TV was actually him directing and filming that on the soundstage. And he kind of, quote unquote, hinted that he had something to do with that in The Shining because Danny was wearing a sweater that said Apollo 11 on it. And I remember I would watch this documentary about all the conspiracy theories of The Shining in the movie The Shining, and a lot of people honed in on that one fact. Damn it. Now all I'm going to want to do is talk about this stuff.
Wow.
Mel Gibson's story about a party he had on a rooftop at night was creepy. Yeah. Well, I mean, I've mentioned this on the channel before, and one of the reasons why I said like I'm not really a huge fan of Will Smith is I heard stories about him before in the past and some of the things that he may have done to get himself the type of fame that he got. So again, it's one of those things like I wouldn't put it past anyone that something like that could happen. At the end of the day, we may never know the truth. But I'm pretty sure crazy stuff like this happens all the time. And not just Hollywood, government, military, you know. At the end of the day, it's all very fascinating. And definitely an interesting topic to talk about. So maybe that is something that I could like maybe formulate a show around so that we could have a conversation about that stuff because yeah, it is interesting. But at the same time, I don't want to be I don't know if you've noticed this recently, but there are some YouTubers on YouTube that they do entertainment news, but they've now also spawned into controversial news. And I don't know if this is done on purpose in order to get a new audience or get a refreshed audience. But there's this one person that I follow on YouTube that all of a sudden now started doing content on UFOs and the controversies behind UFOs. And this is someone who spent the majority of his career talking about movies and pop culture. And then now all of a sudden he's talking about UFOs. And I've seen other channels doing the same thing. And I'm just wondering, number one, why? And number two, is that really the type of audience you want to be on your channel when that's not something you talk about all the time? You know, when you think about like growing your channel, you have to think about what audience do you want. And obviously it's an audience that needs to like gel with everything that you talk about, right? I feel like when you talk about like the UFO conspiracies and movie news, it's not always a one-to-one match, right? So I do find that interesting on why certain channels would pivot that route. So like he said, he met Christopher Walken for the first time and he was floating, not walking. What? Could you imagine if that's true? Or was Mel Gibson extremely high that night? AKB, that is odd, but I have seen what you're talking about. AKB, you've seen it too, right? Isn't it weird why that's like a new thing? Like it's such, for me, it's such like a major pivot. You know, like for example, I can see someone like who maybe spent most of their career talking about movies, and then maybe now they'll talk about video games because it's still related to what you're talking about already. And the audience that you've built, I'm sure there will be some crossover. But for something so extreme as like movie news and then now UFO conspiracies, I don't know. That for me, that's just such a huge leap. AKB, yeah, that's exactly what I just said. Mel Gibson, yeah, we know that he's played a little bit with that nose candy and has definitely hit the bottle quite a bit. So, for all we know, good old Mel G may have been a little bit riding that high horse that night. But again, it's great to think about and to speculate, right? Just like anything we talk about here. So yeah, I promise you all, you will never see me do a major pivot on my channel. And I'm not going to turn into like one of those YouTube channels that talk about iceberg conspiracies and rabbit holes and all that. I may talk about it from time to time, but I'm not going to pivot and turn that into a huge part of my channel. Fast forward 1 year later. Oh my God. Can you believe there are underground creatures living in the sewer? And here I am coming to you in real life. I am now exploring the sewers of New York City to find the elusive alligator clan. Could you imagine? He was of sound mind. We'll see. If I have a chance, I'll try to listen to that interview. You could still be batshit crazy and still sound like you're of sound mind. He could be that good of a psychopath. I'm sure if you ask him if he was of sound mind when he left those voicemails, I'm sure he, he definitely would say like, "Oh yeah, I wasn't high or drunk." I mean, he is an actor. Yeah, that's why. Like, look, that like for like another great example is like the whole Amber Heard Johnny Depp court case. You know how that was like on everyone on like most of everyone's YouTube channel for like months. And when you would see her take the stand and talk, and how she would like cry and be sad, I don't know. For me, that looked all acting to me. Uh, W Mouth chimed in and wants to know if I have an OnlyFans. I believe that's what OF means. No, I have an OnlyFlan. I have an OnlyFlan account. So if you want to check out 24 hours of nothing but flan in your face, you could check out onlyflan.com. Yeah, nice creamy caramel, succulent juices. How much per mouth? For you, $5. What's going on, Flumi? Day's going well. Talking about movie conspiracies. Now, we've switched from the movies of May into movie conspiracies. Well, there you go. You could enjoy it. Like I said, onlyflan.com. Check it out. And Starlord, it goes very well with a drink. Yeah, you gotta enjoy that soft, succulent custard. Mmm, how it how it how it tickles the taste buds. Oh,
I'm gonna come.
Flumi, this isn't really a conspiracy, but did you see the new Beverly Hills Cop movie coming out? Yeah, I did. Was that Axel Foley, right? I remember watching the trailer and I said to myself, I'm interested in this mainly for nostalgia, right? But at the same time, it is kind of hard seeing Eddie Murphy try to play a character that is doing a lot of action scenes when he looks so old. It's the same way I feel about Martin Lawrence and Will Smith doing Bad Boys still. But I do like the fact that it looks like we're getting a lot of the old crew back, you know, with Taggart and Billy. I love that we're getting the Bronson Pinchot character back again. So I'm sure a lot of that will be kind of funny just to see, but I don't know. I'm very skeptical about the movie as a whole, but I'll be watching it. How about you? Are you looking forward to it? You feel like it will be a good movie? All right, I hope so. I mean, I don't want it to be bad, you know. I will say this: Netflix and Eddie Murphy has had good luck so far. I love the Dolomite movie he did. I thought that was a very well done movie. So if it's along the same caliber of that, then sign me up. I can't wait to check it out. You know, if it's what he did with Amazon and Coming to America 2, Yeah, no thanks. Starlord likes the casting of Beverly Hills Cop 4. Now we're dealing with his daughter, right? I guess Axel has a daughter, and I guess she's going to get herself into some trouble. So I'm sure that'll be interesting to learn more about that. And why is Billy in trouble? It's Billy, right? Am I saying his name right? The Judge Reinhold character? Paul Reiser's in it, so it's nice to kind of see him come back too. So I hope it'll be good. I do. Yeah, it's Billy. Okay. But Coming to America 2, oh my gosh, they should have just never done that movie. That was such a painful movie to watch. And I'm calling it part 4. I think that I've earned it. Starlord, you can do whatever you want. Don't ever let anyone else tell you any different. Flumi, I agree. Coming to America 2 had a lot of potential. They could have done some interesting things with it. But oof, I don't know what happened. For me, you know how they always say cash grab, cash grab? That felt like a cash grab movie. 1,000%. You could even put
I'm gonna come.
AKB. I love that we're still going on about only flan. Love it. Love it. Only flan. So I put some whipped, nice succulent custard dripping and oozing with caramel, topped off with a nice fluffy portion of whipped cream.
How about you thank them, dickless? I'm gonna come.
Flumi, not the custard again. I'm telling you, one of the reasons why I have fun doing this stuff is because, one, I love the conversations I have with all of you guys. Really, I do. Two, the random comments I get or questions that I get, like we got before. AKB, think we found a new sponsor. Is there like a famous, company that does flan? I need to hook up with that company. Flumi, if you're still there, what outside of Beverly Hills Cop, what other movies are you looking forward to this summer? And it's easier to talk about that now because this week, not any good new movies came out. So I feel like we're in a lull right now until we get hit up again. June is going to be a dead month, to be honest. If I'm to be very honest about new movies coming out, let's recap some of the new movies coming out in June. So June, again, you have Bad Boys Ride or Die, which I'm like, I'll check it out, but I'm not like so excited to check it out. You have The Watchers, which I'm looking forward to because I want to see that movie from M. Night Shyamalan's daughter. Inside Out 2, okay. Bike Riders, I am definitely looking forward to that. That is like more my type of movie, to be honest. Kinds of Kindness, I said that before because I love Yorgos Lanthimos. A Quiet Place Day 1, I can't wait to see that. That's going to be, I love the Quiet Place story. I love the movie, so I love that. And then that's it. in my opinion. That's the only major movies coming out in June. So I think it's going to be quiet. July is where it's going to be insane with Beverly Hills Cop, Despicable Me 4, Maxine, which I can't wait for, Long Legs, Twisters, and Deadpool Wolverine. So, Flumi, 21 Savage's biography, American Dream, coming July 4th. Oh, I didn't know about that. That sounds interesting. I think I seen an Amy Winehouse bio. Yeah, I just spoke about that before. I saw it this past week. Back to Black, it's called. I thought it was good. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. If you've ever seen the documentary Amy that was put out there by A24, it's a great companion piece. So watch the movie, and then if you wanted like the rest of the stuff filled in or explained further, watch the documentary. But I thought it was decent for the most part. I need my Wolverine bucket. Pop my own corn. So it's just the right size to hold large portion of. Are we talking about only flan? I think we have formed an idea for me to create my own product. I should just create an only flan. Would you buy that? If I created something that you could buy here directly from LOWKEY GEEK, LOWKEY GEEK presents only flan. And if anyone steals this idea, I have it on recording. This is saved on the YouTubes forever. We came up with it first. So anyone involved here right now has rights to the formulation of this idea. Especially if you're commenting. I feel they should make a better Michael Jackson biography. Coming Back to Neverland was a great movie in my opinion, but I feel like we should start the movie off when he was a kid. We have that biopic coming out. Is it this year or next year? It's being directed by, hold on, let me pull it up. Michael Jackson biopic. It's being worked on by Lionsgate, and it's called Michael. It's supposed to come out next year, 2025, and it will be directed by Antoine Fuqua. So it's going to star Coleman Domingo as Joe Jackson, Nia Long as Catherine Jackson, Miles Teller is in it, and then I believe the guy who plays Michael, I forgot his name, but he looks really almost dead on like Michael. And I think that might be an interesting portrayal of Michael Jackson. So this picture right here, and I believe this is him right here. Hold on. Yeah. That's the actor who's playing Michael Jackson. That's not Michael Jackson. That's a scene from the movie. And just by looking at that alone, I think the dude looks just like Michael Jackson. So who knows? Maybe that could be the Michael Jackson movie that we're hoping that we will get. And Flumi says, I can sell custard off the product. AKB is a witness. That's right. Yeah, AKB, that's not MJ. That is the actor. Here, it's on Variety. I'll go here. It is, it's actually Michael Jackson's nephew, Jafar Jackson. I think that's one of the reasons why he looks very similar. So yeah, that is Jafar Jackson, not Michael. So I think it's going to be interesting. Flumi, I like your live content. I subscribe. Thank you so much, Flumi. That's very, very kind of you. Thank you so much. I really, really, honestly, truly appreciate it. You know, like I said, I like the conversation. I'm passionate about what I talk about. You know, I love movies. I love entertainment and pop culture. So I really totally appreciate it. Thank you so much. Great to have you on board. Right? AKB looks crazy, right? But it does sound like they're going to go deep into like the beginnings of Michael because they already casted or they're sorry, proper grammar. They already cast who his brothers are going to be. So it does sound like we're going to be exploring a lot of his childhood, which I think is great. I think you need that for a biopic, right? You need to see his upbringing and what formulated him to be him, right? So AKB says thank you, Flumi. So there you go. Flumi, also, if you're wondering like who are these other people I'm talking to, I have two concurrent streams running. I have the standardized, if you're watching this like on a TV or laptop, standard format of the stream, and then I have the vertical cell phone version of the stream going on at the same time. So I have, it's all on YouTube, but I have two different chats going on. So if, you know, I'm not just talking to myself here. I'm not creating people in my mind that I'm talking to. Staller, the mighty hand of vengeance sent down to strike the unroadworthy, the Knight Rider. Flumi says, oh, I see. Yeah. So there you go. I know that could be kind of confusing both ways, you know, but I do my best to pay attention to both chats because it's very important. What did you think of the All Eyes on Me movie? Was that the Tupac biopic? I don't think I've seen it. I haven't had a chance to see it. How was it? Yeah, that's the Tupac biopic. How was it? Has anyone else seen it? AKB Starlord, have you seen the All Eyes on Me documentary? It was pretty good. All right. I should check that out. Let's see. Eyes on Me. Came out in 2017. Let's see. Where is it streaming? Is it streaming anywhere? Let's see. So here, in the States, in New York, it's on Stars, which I don't own, but I can rent it. All right. I'll add this to my list of things to check out. I think I'll be interested in checking that out. Because very much like Amy Winehouse or Biggie, these are artists that we lost way too soon. You know what I mean? And it's sad whenever something like that happens. So I'm always fascinated by those stories. So I should definitely check that out for sure. Starlord said he saw a clip of it somewhere. AKB hasn't seen it. AKB also wants to make Flumi know that he's a real person. Yeah, just make sure it's not a figment of my imagination. Oh, AKB, thank you for that. He sent me something about the Forrest Gump double peace sign that Starlord was talking about. So I'll check that out later. I just saw that notification. So thank you for sharing that. You're going to get me down this crazy rabbit hole, man. I am crazy. I am crazy. But I am definitely not insane. No, that is very true. Very, very true. Flumi, Power and another show are collaborating to make a Chicago-based show with rappers and people. I've only seen little news on it. The only thing I've seen is that Lil Meech will be starring in King Von. Huh. That's interesting. That totally sounds interesting. Starler saying, yeah, it's real. He did that shit on purpose. We were now talking about the whole Forrest Gump conspiracy. Isn't Power, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought, didn't Power end or is ending? Consider the Forrest Gump research for your future conspiracy theory show. I'm going to have to at this point. You know, I feel like we have so much to talk about now. This could definitely be a future show. I wonder if people will be, I'm sure there will be a lot of people interested in it. Flumi, I think Power might be ending. Yeah, I thought I read somewhere that Power was ending. It's funny, that's like one of those shows that's very low-key under the radar, that's been around for a very long time. Oh, see, AKB is asking a good question. Let's check it out right now. Because I want to say 5 seasons, maybe? Power. Hold on. Power TV series. Let's see. Power drama, blah, 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 blah. Aired on the Stars Network. Oh my gosh. Listen to this. Power was on the Stars Network from June 7, 2014 to February 9, 2020. 6 seasons, 63 episodes. It's Power and Force that is collaborating. It is a King Von biography. Either 50 Cent or Lil Meech will be starring as him, according to somebody in the circle of directory. Wow. Interesting. Yeah, because there's Power. Well, there's The Power, which is not it. Powers, which is something definitely different. That's nuts. Yeah, it's been, like I said, just one of those, and it happens all the time. There's always like a low-key series that will be around for a long time that maybe you won't hear a lot of people talk about, but it definitely has a following. So that's awesome. And that's interesting, Flumi, about that biography. Yeah. Life is like a box of conspiracy chocolates. You know, I was on a I'm on the dating apps, right? And I can't, you know, Hinge has these prompts that you fill out. You know, they're kind of like get to know you more, get to know me more, kind of things like that. And I guess one of the prompts is dating me is like dot dot dot, right? And one of the profiles I saw, someone put down, dating me is like dot dot dot. She wrote down like a box of chocolates. And I thought, oh, that's kind of cute. Never know what you're gonna get. But at the same time, I'm like, that means you're kind of crazy. Flumi says he's gonna try to download a dating app just to find me. Okay. You could do that, or oh my gosh, how long is this laughter gonna happen? You could do that, or you can check out my profile on onlyflan.com. 24/7 custard, caramel, and whipped cream, all up in your hizzy. Only if you get 50% off the custard. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. AKB, I wonder if a third show will be made called Velocity. That would be a great title. Velocity. I like that. Jenny, crazy is what crazy does. Bubba. I love Forrest Gump. Well, I don't know if I'm going to love it anymore if there's some satanic freaking devil signage going on in it. Jeez, the hell. Thanks, Star-Lord, for ruining my movie. All right, y'all. I am going to start wrapping things up for today. If you guys want to talk about anything, you know, for the next 5 minutes, I'm open. Let me know. I'm not open that way. Take it easy. Relax.
Hey, how about you thank them, dickless? I'm gonna come.
I'm only open on onlyflan.com. Sign up now for a 25% discount off your first purchase. My next show will be tomorrow. I will be back on stream tomorrow at 12 noon. Around 12 noon. It's going to be a video game show. Meaning I'm going to be talking about all the latest video game news, recap Sony's state of meh play, and talk about anything video game related, because I haven't done that in a while. So definitely, if you want to hang out and talk about video games, then please check it out tomorrow till 12 noon. Flummy says, go to the gas station real quick. Have a good rest of your stream. Make sure you get custard 25%. Flummy, thank you so much. Be safe going to that gas station. If you see Anthony Mack, do not go up and say hi to him. Apparently, he doesn't like that. But Flummy, I hope to catch you in another stream later on. So I was saying, don't worry, Forrest Gump is not the devil. That will be foosball. Foosball. The devil. Kathy Bates as that character of the mom in The Waterboy is one of my favorite characters that she's ever played. It's like that and Misery. What a funny thing to say of such a prestige actress as Kathy Bates, to say my favorite roles of hers is the lady from Misery and then the mom in The Waterboy. Oh my god. It's so funny. Yeah, girl, ladies got range, man. That's how you know. That's how you know how strong of an actress she is. Oh man. Is that again, we talked about before about Paul Giamatti's like in memoriam and how, when they show the clips, it's going to be his role in Sideways, uh Holdovers, and then Planet of the Apes. Kathy Bates is going to be Misery, in Titanic, and then The Water Boy. You know how she's doing that thing, and she's, like running, like. Oh man. Oh, she was great in Titanic. Playing what was that? She was like a baroness, right? All right, y'all. Sorry for all the dead air. Again, if you ever see me, with dead air, it's because I'm so busy reading the comments. So I just want to make sure I address everything. I know it makes for great radio. Could you imagine listening to the radio at a talk show and you'll just hear nothing like. Right? So. But yeah, I'm going to wrap it up for now, y'all. Again, if you want to catch me again live, I'll be here on the channel tomorrow at 12 noon. We'll be talking about the video game industry, we'll talk about the latest news there, talk about the Sony state of play. What are you excited about? What are you not excited about? What are you looking forward to? All that good stuff. So, we'll rap about video games, something we haven't done in a very long time. So, plus there's a 20-30 second delay from enter text. Yeah, there is. Yeah, that's just how streaming is sometimes. Sometimes it's shorter and sometimes it's not. I don't know. It's so weird. I do have low latency checked off, so it should be better, but you never know sometimes, But again, thank you so much for tuning in. Great conversations all around. Big shout outs again to always my homies up here, AKB, Star-Lord, Flumi. Before we had, just want to call out the names here. W Mouth, hope you could check me out on OnlyFlan. Arnold, thank you so much for chiming in. Lil Sa from earlier. Amanda, all of you guys are awesome. You're all rock stars. I appreciate all of you. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Saturday. And if I don't see you tomorrow, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. But I am going to go ahead and call it for now. Let's have some happy music to end the stream on. All right, y'all. Catch you all tomorrow. Until then, stay cool, stay classy, stay safe. Do one of these. Oh no, don't do that. Demonic signage. No. All right, y'all. Catch you next time. Peace. Bye.